Chapter 854. Wait for me. A hoarse voice entered Yi Qinfeng's ears just as he was flying at top speed to get rid of the formation pattern storm. The genius disciple, who was wearing a loose black robe and a silver mask, was like a bolt of lightning that tore through the sky as he followed Yi Qinfeng closely. Why are you following me? Yi Qinfeng frowned slightly. He didn't expect that the silver-masked genius would choose to follow him, so he asked coldly. I also can't stand those mediocre people and want to cooperate with you. If we cooperate, it will be easier for us to pick the ancient spirit herbs in the ancient herbal garden. The silver-masked genius sped up again and flew side by side with Yi Qinfeng, explaining his intentions. It seems that you are very confident in your own strength, Yi Qinfeng said with a faint smile. Of course I have the right to be confident. You will know in a while. The silver-masked genius said with a hoarse voice. Well, if you can impress me with your strength, I can cooperate with you. Yi Qinfeng had long felt that he was extraordinary. He pondered for a moment and said, I will make you feel lucky to cooperate with me. The silver-masked genius said proudly. The two of them flew faster and faster, and soon got rid of the formation pattern storm. They took a big detour and continued to go deeper into the ancient ruins. As they flew, an intoxicating fragrance wafted into their noses, attracting their attention. Following this thick fragrance, they passed through layers of clouds and found a valley full of moss and wildflowers. At the end of the valley, there was a strange flower that was more than half a meter tall. Its leaves were like cattail leaf fans, and it was dark purple in color. Its flowers were as big as a washbasin. A purple ghost spiritual flower that is more than 50,000 years old. Looking at the unique purple flower in the valley, the silver-masked genius immediately recognized that this strange flower should be the purple ghost spiritual flower recorded in ancient book. It was born by absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Not only could it nourish the soul and strengthen the spirit beast, but it was also one of the main ingredients for refining the great Tao pill. It was very precious. Judging from the patterns on the purple ghost spirit flower, it was more than 50,000 years old. If it were to spread outside, it would be enough to attract the attention of some old monsters. However, the two of them didn't act rashly because they sensed the aura of an ancient restriction in this valley. If they entered blindly, it was very likely that they would trigger the restriction and be attacked by the formation runes. U-17, in order to show my sincerity, how about I break the restriction of this valley and give you this purple serene spirit flower? The silver-masked genius shouted Yi Qinfeng's fake name and said in a hoarse voice. All right. Yi Qinfeng also wanted to see what the silver-masked genius was capable of, so he nodded in agreement. Wait for me here, I'll go pick the purple ghost spirit flower. As he spoke, 4 ancient formation flags embroidered with the patterns of azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise appeared from the silver-masked genius's body, and he flew directly into the valley that was shrouded by the ancient restriction. 4 beast flags. Yi Qinfeng's eyes lit up when he saw the ancient flags surrounding the silver-masked genius. He felt that the silver-masked genius's strength was not to be underestimated. Rumble! The deafening sound of restrictions rang out. The silver-masked genius entered the valley, and thousands of huge waves were stirred up. Boundless formation patterns appeared, bringing with them a shocking killing force. They bombarded his body, wanting to tear him apart. Facing the formation pattern attacks from all directions, the silver-masked genius moved his hands together and controlled the 4 beast flags to condense a powerful formation pattern with the phantoms of the 4 beasts, which shrouded his body. However, when the attacking formation patterns hit the 4 beast formation pattern, they disappeared like clay oxen entering the sea. They did not even cause a ripple. Good technique. I didn't expect this person to be so proficient in formations. He broke the restriction of the valley so easily. Looking at the silver-masked genius who seemed to be invincible, Yi Qinfeng showed a hint of surprise. He understood why the silver-masked genius was so confident. After condensing the 4-beast formation pattern to break the attacks of the formation patterns, the silver-masked genius came to the side of the purple ghost spirit flower that had grown for tens of thousands of years. When he reached out to pick the flower, he was attacked. A powerful soul force was released from the purple ghost spirit flower that was the size of a washbasin. It wanted to blast through his soul sea and tear his soul apart. However, the silver-masked genius's technique was shocking. He let out a roar that sounded like a dragon's roar and a tiger's roar, shattering the soul attack released by the purple ghost spirit flower. He broke the flower's stem and picked the precious purple ghost spirit flower. Zhu, this purple ghost spirit flower is for you. The silver-masked genius tapped his toes and flashed out of the valley that was filled with powerful formation patterns. He returned to Yi Qinfeng's side and gave the precious purple ghost spirit flower to Yi Qinfeng. Are you really so generous to give the purple ghost spirit flower to me? Yi Qinfeng did not take the purple ghost spirit flower from the silver-masked genius and asked, "All right, I won't hide my purpose. There is a vital spiritual item in the ancient herbal garden. As long as you can help me pick it, I don't want any other spiritual items in the ancient herbal garden. I will do my best to pick it for you," the silver-masked genius said. "What kind of spiritual item do you want in the ancient herbal garden?" Yi Qinfeng asked. "The Death Datura flower," the silver-masked genius said with a hoarse voice. "All right, I will help you pick the Death Datura flower, and you help me pick the other ancient spiritual herbs." The Death Datura flower was extremely valuable. Apart from containing a powerful death Tao, it also contained a mysterious power that could evolve bloodlines. Its value was even higher than ordinary Great Tao pills. However, to Yi Qinfeng, the blood dragon ginseng was more important. He pondered for a moment and finally agreed to accept the purple ghost spirit flower from the silver-masked genius. "Let's go. It's almost dark. We will find a safe place to rest first. We will continue to explore the ancient ruins tomorrow morning." The ancient ruins were even more dangerous at night. The two found a relatively safe cave before the sky turned dark and went in to rest. "I still don't know your name?" Yi Qinfeng leaned against the cold cave wall and drank a mouthful of green bamboo leaf wine. He looked at the mysterious silver-masked genius who was meditating with his eyes closed and asked. "Xiaowen," the silver-masked genius said with a hoarse voice. "Oh right, are you a man?" Yi Qinfeng's lips curled up, revealing a slight smile as he asked this thought-provoking question. "What do you mean by that?" Xiaowen's deep eyes flashed with a cold light as she coldly asked. "Nothing, I'm just a bit curious. Why would a man have the faint smell of cosmetics on him?" Yi Qinfeng smiled. "Dog knows." Xiaowen spat out 3 words and no longer paid attention to Yi Qinfeng. She closed her eyes and continued meditating. Yi Qinfeng. The night grew deeper and deeper. Yi Qinfeng saw that Xiaowen had completely entered a state of cultivation. He took out the purple ghost spirit flower she had given him and spat out a mouthful of black skyfire. He melted the flower and refined it into pure spirit liquid before swallowing it. Immediately, a large amount of soul energy erupted from Yi Qinfeng's mouth and crazily poured into his spiritual sea. Sword Soul Fuse. Yi Qinfeng didn't fuse the soul energy contained in the purple ghost spirit flower into the blood dragon emperor. Instead, he fused all of it into the sword soul to increase its power. The night quickly passed. After a night of cultivation and the fusion of the soul energy contained in the purple ghost spirit flower, the sword soul's power had increased slightly. However, its attack amplitude against Yi Qinfeng had increased by a lot. Seeing that the sky was bright, the two didn't stay for long. They flew out of the secluded cave and continued to fly towards the ancient herb garden hidden in the depths of the ancient ruins. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the save button below to record your reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 855. According to the markings on the map, we should be very close to the ancient medicinal garden. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen were standing on top of an ancient tree that had grown for an unknown number of years. It was dozens of meters tall, with lush foliage, covering an area of 1 li. However, in order to enter the ancient medicinal garden, we must first cross this terrifying river of death. Xia Wen pointed at one of the rivers on the map. Why, is this river of death very dangerous? Hearing the deeper meaning in Xia Wen's words, Yi Chunfeng asked. Extremely dangerous. Even if we join hands, if we are unlucky, we can still die in the river of death. Xia Wen nodded and said, What dangers does this river of death hold? Yi Chunfeng furrowed his brow and asked. Above the river of death, there is a powerful restrictive barrier. Ordinary beast emperor experts are unable to fly, and within the river of death, there are countless heavenly beasts. After countless years of evolution, there are even level 9 heavenly beasts. If we are unlucky, we might be attacked by a level 9 heavenly beast, and both of us might die. Xia Wen said slowly. Xia Wen, you seem to be very familiar with this ancient ruins. Yi Chunfeng looked at Xia Wen, who seemed to know the ancient ruins like the back of his hand, and asked, Everyone has their own secrets, right? Xia Wen said in a hoarse voice, with deep meaning. Indeed. Yi Chunfeng nodded and did not continue asking. Let's go. We will go to the river of death and find a chance to cross it. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen flew away from the ancient tree, flying towards the river of death at an extremely fast speed. Under Xia Wen's continuous attacks, the restrictions in the ancient ruins didn't pose any threat to them. Roughly 8 hours later, they passed through the increasingly dense clouds and mist. In the distance, they discovered a vast and boundless river that emitted black light. It slowly flowed into the distance. The river of death, we have finally arrived. Looking at the seemingly tranquil river of death, Yi Chunfeng's god-devouring brain wriggled rapidly. Powerful soul force radiated out, penetrating the powerful restrictions and seeping into the river of death. As expected, there are a large number of heavenly beasts hidden in this river, and the seals above the river of death are huge as well. With my current power, I'm afraid I can only fly about 1 meter high. Yi Chunfeng muttered in his heart as he saw through the river of death. He felt that the river of death was more dangerous than he had imagined. Let's go, Zhu 17. Let's try to cross the river. If there's any danger, we'll come back and look for another opportunity. Xia Wen suggested as she looked at the boundless river of death that was emitting the light of death. All right. Yi Chunfeng nodded. He and Xia Wen flew to the edge of the river of death. They could feel the boundless restrictions that suppressed the flow of soul force in their bodies. Let's go. Xia Wen summoned the 4 beasts flag and condensed a terrifying formation diagram around her. She took the lead and flew into the sky above the river of death that was shrouded by the terrifying restrictions. Xia Wen was very powerful and was suspected to be a rank 3 combat beast emperor expert. However, when she flew into the sky above the river of death, her body was ruthlessly suppressed. Cracks appeared on the formation diagram formed by the 4 beasts flag, and she almost fell into the river of death. Although Yi Chunfeng had activated the power of his 5 acupoints and erupted with a strength of 15 million jin, he was still suppressed by the powerful restrictions and was sent flying into the river of death that was emitting black light. Dragon's bloodline, ignite. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and ignited his dragon's bloodline. In an instant, his soul force increased by 7 times and covered his entire body. Only then was he able to resist the powerful spatial restrictions. After stabilizing his body, Yi Chunfeng took a step forward in the air. A sword diagram appeared beneath his feet. 80 sword Dao patterns shot out and tore apart the earth-shattering spatial restrictions. Together with Xia Wen, who was reinforcing the 4 beasts flag, they flew to the other side of the river of death. Ao. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen had just flown a dozen meters when a series of bone-chilling beast roars rang out. 3 enormous level 6 heavenly beasts drilled out of the river. They opened their bloody mouths and released surging demonic energy as they bit towards Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen. Dragon Shadow. As the 3 malevolent aquatic beasts attacked, Xia Wen immediately controlled the 4 beasts' flag to attack. Several large formation patterns formed into dragon shadows and bombarded the 3 aquatic beasts. The 3 beasts' heads were forcefully smashed, and their enormous bodies fell heavily into the river, dyeing the river red. Not good. The heavenly beasts in the river of death are attracted by the blood. After killing the 3 aquatic beasts, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen continued to leap over the river of death. At this moment, the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly deducing, noticed that more than 10 terrifying heavenly beasts had appeared in the river of death. Yi Chunfeng immediately warned it. As soon as Yi Chunfeng's voice fell, 5 huge fishes that were more than 10 meters long broke out of the blood-dyed river. They opened their bloody mouths and bit towards Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen. Sword steps. Yi Chunfeng quickly took a step forward, and the sword diagram suddenly appeared. The concentrated sword Dao patterns brought about an ear-piercing sound as they pierced through the bodies of the 5 huge fishes that leaped out of the river. After killing the 5 huge fishes, a large number of heavenly beasts leaped out of the river of death. They released surging demonic energy and attacked Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen. They wanted to kill and devour them. 4 beasts flag, formation pattern extermination. Facing the concentrated attacks of the heavenly beasts, Xia Wen continued to deduce the 4 beasts flag, forming a large number of formation patterns that crazily killed the heavenly beasts. Yi Chunfeng also summoned the 3 heavenly spirits, forming the Wrath of Deity Retribution. The Wrath of Deity Retribution twisted the space, attacking the heavenly beasts that leaped out of the river of death. In an instant, the skies above the river of death fell into chaos. Deafening explosions shook the 9 heavens, and a large number of heavenly beasts in the river were killed by Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen joined forces and flew towards the other side of the river of death, the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly deducing, sensed danger approaching. 2 terrifying level 9 heavenly beasts were attracted by the thick blood. Careful, there are level 9 heavenly beasts. Let's go back. Under the suppression of the spatial restrictions, Yi Chunfeng's power and speed were greatly suppressed. Even if he used the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, he was unable to kill the 2 level 9 heavenly beasts, and had no choice but to retreat. Ao. As soon as Yi Chunfeng's words fell, 2 deafening roars rang out from the river of death, striking towards Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen. Yi Chunfeng had sensed the danger in advance, and he quickly used his sword steps to dodge the terrifying sound attack. Xia Wen, who had just killed a strange fish, was unable to dodge in time, and was struck by the 2 spatial distortions. The 4 beasts flag formation was instantly filled with cracks, and Xia Wen's soul sea shuddered, and her reaction slowed slightly. In the next instant, 2 ferocious dragon heads appeared from the blood-red river, spewing out terrifying demonic energy towards Xia Wen. Seeing the slow reaction of Xia Wen being struck by the demonic energy, Yi Chunfeng used his sword steps to return to Xia Wen's side, pulling her into his embrace and summoning the sword puppet to defend against the demonic energy. Bang bang! The sword puppet was struck by the 2 demonic energy attacks, and half of its energy was instantly depleted. Yi Chunfeng took advantage of the time when the sword puppet was defending, and flew back to the shore with Xia Wen in his arms. "Don't hug me, I can fly by myself." Xia Wen struggled out of Yi Chunfeng's embrace, and controlled the 4 beasts flag formation to turn into boundless killing runes, killing the heavenly beasts blocking her way. Together with Yi Chunfeng, they escaped back to the shore of the river of death. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button below to record your reading history. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will be able to see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 856. Thank you so much for earlier. Xiaowen took a deep breath and suppressed the surging qi and blood in her body. She glanced at Yi Qinfeng, who had summoned back the sword spirit puppet and saved her life, and said with a hoarse voice, "Did you see those 2 level 9 heavenly beasts? Were they 2 flood dragons?" Yi Qinfeng asked, thinking of the ferocious dragon head that had appeared in the river of death. They weren't flood dragons, but 2 dragon turtles that are almost extinct in the Xingluo continent. Their demonic energy is even more terrifying than flood dragons. Xiaowen said in a low voice. Dragon turtles. I didn't expect the river of death to have such demonic beasts. It seems like if we want to cross the river of death and enter the ancient medicinal garden, we will have to plan properly. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath, revealing a trace of seriousness. Those 2 dragon turtles are the kings of the river of death. As long as we avoid them, with our strength, we will definitely be able to kill our way to the other side. Xiaowen said in a hoarse voice. You are saying that we should wait for Overlord Sword and the others to arrive and have them attract the attacks while we take the opportunity to cross the river? Yi Qinfeng's eyes lit up. That's right. This is the best plan we can think of. Xiaowen nodded and said in a hoarse voice. Alright, then we will wait here for a few days. With Overlord Sword and the others' strength, they should be here soon. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, Oh right, Xiaowen, can you not purposely speak in a hoarse voice? Don't you feel awkward? If you feel awkward, then you don't have to listen. Xiaowen said unhappily. Yi Qinfeng, time slowly passed and soon the sky turned dark. Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen hid in 2 tall ancient trees, listening to the occasional beast roar from the river of death. They were adjusting their breathing, waiting for Overlord Sword and the others to appear. Pooh! Suddenly, the sound of blood spurting out rang out, waking Yi Qinfeng from his meditation. What happened to you? Yi Qinfeng's body flickered and he appeared in another ancient tree. He looked at Xiaowen, who was curled up in pain, and blood was flowing out from her silver mask. I'm fine. I won't die. Xiaowen said weakly. Come, let me see. Ignoring Xiaowen's objections, Yi Qinfeng grabbed her delicate hand from his robe and sent 2 strands of soul power into her body. I don't need you to look at me, nor do I need you to save me. Xiaowen used all the strength in her body to shake off Yi Qinfeng's hand. However, Yi Qinfeng's large hand was like a pair of pliers, tightly gripping her wrist, making it impossible for her weak body to shake him off. Let go. If you don't let go of me, don't blame me for being impolite. Xiaowen, who was barely breathing, flew into a rage out of humiliation. Innate broken meridians. You actually have the innate broken meridians constitution. Yi Qinfeng let go of Xiaowen's hand and revealed an expression of disbelief. With your physique, you were actually able to cultivate to the level of a rank 3 combat beast emperor. Do you believe that I won't kill you? Xiaowen rubbed her teeth and angrily said after her secret was discovered by Yi Qinfeng. In her anger, her voice became ethereal and sweet-sounding. Don't mind me. I don't have any ill intentions. Yi Qinfeng took out a small ball of life essence and said, Eat this. It can reduce your pain. Life essence. You actually have a life essence. Looking at the life essence that Yi Qinfeng handed over, Xiaowen did not refuse. After receiving it, she opened a corner of her silver mask and quickly swallowed it. I'm fine now. You can leave. After eating the life essence, Xiaowen, whose pain had reduced by a lot, coldly ordered him to leave. Hey, I saved you. Yi Qinfeng rubbed his nose and unhappily said, Did I ask you to save me? Xiaowen retorted. You're the one meddling in other people's business. Yi Qinfeng. Looking at the mysterious Xiaowen who did not know how to repay him, Yi Qinfeng was speechless. His body flickered and disappeared. After Yi Qinfeng left, a sweet-sounding female voice resounded from the silver mask. Following that, A powerful death energy appeared in Xia Wen's body and connected all the broken veins in her body. Because she had swallowed the life essence, the connection of her broken veins had reduced a lot of her pain. Early in the morning, a ray of sunlight pierced through the night, crossing the boundless mountain range and enveloping the ancient ruins, dissipating the clouds above the ruins. She recovered. In just one night, she actually recovered her strength. What kind of secret is she hiding? The broken pulse body was also known as the trash body. It was impossible to cultivate with it. However, Xia Wen had not only broken the curse of the broken pulse body, she had also reached the realm of a rank 3 beast emperor. This made Yi Chunfeng guess that there was definitely a heaven-shaking secret hidden within her body. Otherwise, with the broken pulse body, she would have died long ago. However, Yi Chunfeng was not a person who liked to pry into other people's secret. He eliminated all distracting thoughts and hid in the ancient trees to cultivate, waiting for Overlord Sword and the rest to appear. Roughly 4 hours later, when the sun hung high in the sky, ear-piercing sounds could be heard. The heavily injured Overlord Sword and the rest had finally arrived. They appeared 5 kilometers away from where Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen were hiding. Sensing the appearance of Overlord Sword and the rest, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen restrained their auras and hid themselves well, patiently waiting for an opportunity to appear. Very quickly, a day passed. During this day, Overlord Sword and the rest had been carefully preparing and discussing the plan to cross the river. When the first rays of the morning sun shone on the earth, a new day had arrived. Overlord Sword and the rest did not continue to wait. They came to the edge of the river of death and prepared to forcefully cross the river. Violet Jade Ship. Overlord Sword, who had long been prepared, summoned a purple jade ship that was close to the level of a Tao artifact. It was like a jade carving and was filled with powerful restrictions. It landed in the river of death that seemed calm but was actually filled with killing intent. "Let's go!" Overlord Sword roared and leaped onto the violet jade ship with Hualuoyu and the rest. They resisted the overwhelming spatial pressure and flew towards the river of death. Roar! 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 At this moment, furious beast roars could be heard. The powerful heavenly beasts in the river of death felt the dense blood chi flowing in the bodies of Overlord Sword and the rest. They leaped out of the river and attacked the violet jade ship's restrictions, launching ferocious attacks at them. "Everyone, don't show any mercy. Attack with all your strength. We will work together and kill our way over." Overlord Sword, who was constantly pouring his soul power into the violet jade ship to increase its speed, shouted, "Give us the sky in the river of death. You just need to control the violet jade ship to increase its speed." Hualuoyu summoned the White Lotus and said loudly. Hualuoyu and the rest controlled their Tao artifacts and heavenly artifacts to attack. The heavenly beasts that leaped out of the river of death were constantly killed. A large amount of blood dyed the river red. The thick smell of blood was nauseating. Just as everyone was doing their best to kill the heavenly beasts in the river of death and advancing forward with irresistible force, 2 huge shadows approached them one after the other. Bang! Bang! 2 water pillars soared into the sky like water dragons and blocked the violet jade ship that was braving the wind and waves. In the next moment, the overlords of the river of death, 2 terrifying level 9 heavenly beasts, dragon turtles, emerged from the blood-stained river and roared at Overlord Sword and the rest. The terrifying sound waves shattered the restrictions on the violet jade ship. The ship trembled violently. Several Xingluo Heaven City geniuses, who were not strong enough, bled from their 7 orifices and were in great pain. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 857. Good chance. Let's go. Seeing the 2 dragon turtles being lured out by Overlord Sword and the others, Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen didn't hesitate and flew out of the ancient tree. They tried their best to get as far away from the two dragon turtles as possible and forcefully cross the river. It's those two. Just as Overlord's sword, Hualuoyu, and the others were intimidated by the two dragon turtles and fell into panic, the soul energy they released detected Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen. Damn it! They actually dared to use us as cannon fodder. When Overlord's sword saw Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen crossing the river at the perfect time, he immediately guessed that he was tricked and helped them attract the attack. He was so angry that his face turned green and flames of fury burned in him. Roar! 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 When Overlord's sword and the others were distracted, the two dragon turtles that were emitting monstrous demonic auras floated out of the river of death and launched a terrifying attack at them. The surging demonic auras were like stormy waves as they ruthlessly bombarded the violet jade ship. Crack! The violet jade ship that was comparable to a quasi-Dao artifact was attacked by the demonic auras released by the two dragon turtles. Crisscrossing cracks immediately appeared on the surface of the ship, and it looked like it was about to shatter. Not good. The violet jade ship is about to shatter. Everyone, get off the ship. Sensing that the violet jade ship was about to shatter, Overlord's sword decisively abandoned the ship and controlled it to crash into the two dragon turtles. Explode! When the violet jade ship crashed into the huge body of one of the dragon turtles, Overlord's sword detonated the ship. A terrifying explosive force instantly spread out and engulfed the two dragon turtles. Let's go. We'll rely on our own abilities to cross the river. Relying on her powerful strength, Hualuoyu, who had forcefully leaped over a meter, saw the two dragon turtles being engulfed by the explosive force. She continuously spat 3 mouthfuls of blood essence into the white lotus and activated its power. She stepped on the rapidly revolving white lotus and relied on the might of the Dao artifact to forcefully cross the river. Bloody slaughter 1,000 heavy sword. At this moment, Overlord's sword pushed his sword Dao intent and blood Dao intent to their limit. He continuously slashed out wave after wave of blood-colored sword waves, killing the ferocious river beasts. He followed closely behind Hualuoyu and forcefully broke out of the encirclement. Hualuoyu and Overlord's sword relied on their absolute strength to withstand the suppression of the spatial restrictions and flew close to the river of death. The other 14 Xingluo Heaven City disciples were unable to withstand the restrictions above the river of death. Their bodies that were flying in midair were slowly being pressed into the river of death. Once they were pushed into the blood-soaked river of death, there was no way they could survive. With their lives hanging by a thread, the 14 disciples of Xingluo Heavenly City ignited the power of their bloodline and used their final trump card. Withstanding the spatial restriction, they forcefully killed the ferocious heavenly beasts one after another. They followed closely behind Hualuoyu and Overlord Jian to break out of the encirclement. Ao. Just as the 14 of them worked together to forcefully break out of the encirclement, the two completely enraged dragon turtles blocked their path. They opened their bloody mouths and bit at them at lightning speed. Our 2 blood-curdling screams resounded. 2 disciples of Xingluo Heaven City, who couldn't dodge in time, were bitten by the 2 dragon turtles. They let out desperate and painful howls. Just as their bodies were bitten by the dragon turtles, and they were about to die, the 2 disciples of Xingluo Heaven City detonated their heart meridians and self-detonated their bodies to deal the final blow to the 2 dragon turtles. The self-detonation of the 2 half-step combat beast emperors was very powerful. However, the dragon turtles were level 9 heavenly beasts and were good at defense. They forcefully withstood the self-detonation and continued to open their bloody mouth. They spat out billowing demonic energy and killed the other disciples of Xingluo Heaven City. Taking advantage of the time when the 2 dragon turtles were distracted by the disciples of Xingluo Heaven City, Yi Chunfeng, Xiaowen, Hualuoyu, and Overlord Jian used all their skills and pushed their speed to the limit to fly to the other side of the river of death. Go, let's retreat. Seeing Hua Luoyu and Overlord Jian flying far away, the 12 disciples of Xingluo Heaven City, who were in danger, made a prompt decision. They gave up on the idea of entering the ancient herb garden to pick the ancient herbs and flew to the other side of the river. However, the savage dragon turtles and the heavenly beasts in the river didn't give them a chance to escape. They continuously released their demonic energy and attacked them. Soon, another 2 disciples of Xingluo Heaven City were bitten by the 2 dragon turtles. Before they could self-detonate, their bodies were bitten by the dragon turtles and swallowed into their stomach. Under the bloody attacks of the dragon turtles and the heavenly beasts in the river, the disciples of Xingluo Heaven City died one after another. Their blood dyed the river of death red. Taking advantage of the distraction of the dragon turtles, Yi Qinfeng's group pushed their speed to the limit and slowly approached the other side of the river of death. Bang bang! Over 10 towering water pillars suddenly exploded in front of Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen, sealing the space and forcefully obstructing them. Following which, a huge snake with 3 sinister snake heads and a body as thick as a water tank appeared. Its entire body was brightly colored, and it flicked its long forked tongue. It was at least 100 meters long and revealed its long venomous fangs as it bit towards Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen. Class 8 Heavenly Beast, 3-headed snake. Looking at the huge creature blocking their way, Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen made their moves at the same time and attacked it. 4 Beasts Flag, Array Pattern Strangulation. Xiaowen controlled the 4 Beasts Flag that revolved around her body to form over 100 attack array patterns. With astonishing destructive power, they bombarded the huge body of the 3-headed snake. At the same time, Yi Qinfeng also unleashed his Sword Dao pattern to the limit. 80 Sword Dao patterns were controlled by his will and turned into a 10-zhang-long sword that slashed towards the 3-headed snake. Facing Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen's attacks, the 3-headed snake's 3 powerful demonic powers were directly shattered. The attack array patterns and the Sword Dao pattern slashed on its body ruthlessly, causing its body to be smashed into a bloody mess. It was sent flying and smashed heavily into the violently tumbling river of death. After joining forces and severely injuring the Class 8 3-headed snake, Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen did not pursue and kill it. Instead, they endured the power of the restrictions and continued flying towards the other side of the river of death. Under the siege of the 2 dragon turtles and dozens of powerful heavenly beasts, Xingluo Heaven City's disciples were constantly being killed. In just over 10 breaths of time, only 6 of the 14 Xingluo Heaven City's genius disciples were left alive. The 6 of them had different degrees of injuries and were completely surrounded by the savage heavenly beast. There was no way they could survive. Wang. Just as Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen were about to reach the other side of the river of death, suddenly, an ear-piercing cry rang out from the river of death, shaking the river water that was covered with black light. It was like boiling water, boiling violently. In the next moment, a snake head the size of a water tank emerged from the river of death. 2 terrifying rays of light shot out from its blood-red eyes. Not good. This is an ancient mutated species, the Class 9 heavenly beast, the Mingxi. Xiaowen, who was extremely familiar with the ancient ruins, immediately recognized the strange snake that emerged from the river of death. She shouted out loudly, "Let's not continue fighting. Break through at full speed. Once we reach the other side, we will be safe." Sword steps. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath, raising his physical strength to the limit. Using the sword steps, he moved with extreme speed, narrowly dodging the terrifying demonic powers released by the Mingxi. Together with Xiaowen, who was stepping on the array patterns, they broke through the encirclement. Hiss hiss hiss. Seeing Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen trying to break through the encirclement, the Mingxi immediately let out an extremely powerful cry, attacking their souls, making them feel as if their heads were being pricked by needles. It was very uncomfortable. Withstanding the sound wave attack released by the Mingxi, Yi Qinfeng and Xiaowen continued to break through the encirclement. But at this time, 4 powerful heavenly beasts rushed out from the river of death, spurting out dense demonic powers to attack them. Just as Yi Chunfeng relied on his absolute attack to kill a strange fish full of sharp teeth, the huge body of the Mingxi suddenly blurred, and with a speed that was several times faster than light, it rammed into Yi Chunfeng, who was closest to it. Before it launched the fatal attack, it released a powerful sound wave attack on Yi Chunfeng's soul, causing Yi Chunfeng's reaction to be slightly delayed. Golden Body Secrets. Unable to dodge, Yi Chunfeng immediately used the Golden Body Secrets, covering his body with a layer of defensive golden light. He punched out with both of his fists, blocking the fatal attack of the Mingxi. Puff! After using the Golden Body Secrets, Yi Chunfeng's body was comparable to a mid-grade Dao artifact, but he was still injured by the huge body of the Mingxi. Both of his arms were shaken off, his chest caved in, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Although his body was injured, Yi Chunfeng didn't slow down his speed of breaking through the encirclement. Instead, he used the sword steps to tear through the restrictive spell, moving at an extremely fast speed. When the Mingxi was about to launch the second fatal attack, Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen, who were breaking through the encirclement with all their strength, finally crossed the dangerous river of death and arrived at the other side. Remember the URL. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 858. Finally safe. Having successfully reached the shore, Yi Chunfeng let out a long sigh of relief. Blood flowed from his mouth, and his chest caved in. He and Xiaowen left the river of death, which was filled with the stench of blood and death, and entered a black forest to recover. So. Just as Yi Chunfeng swallowed a heaven-grade soul pellet to recover, 2 ear-piercing sounds rang out. Hua Luoyu and Overlord's sword, who had successfully crossed to the other side of the river of death, appeared, releasing powerful auras to lock onto Yi Chunfeng, who was recovering. They wanted to take advantage of the fact that Yi Chunfeng was heavily injured by the 9th-grade heavenly beast, the Crying Snake, to kill him and eliminate a great enemy. "What, do you want to fight?" Yi Chunfeng said in a low voice as he opened his eyes. His gaze was like lightning as he looked at the murderous Overlord's sword and Overlord's sword. "This is a grudge between us. Please do not interfere. After this matter is over, we will definitely reward you greatly." Hua Luoyu did not make a move immediately. Instead, she cast her gaze towards the mysterious Xiaowen, who wore a silver mask and was sitting cross-legged as she promised softly. "What if I don't agree?" Xiaowen said calmly, making it impossible for others to guess her inner thoughts. "To tell you the truth, we have a shortcut to enter the ancient herb garden and harvest the ancient spirit herbs. As long as you don't interfere and we kill this person, we are willing to share this secret with you and bring you along to harvest the ancient spirit herbs." Hua Luoyu's alluring red lips rose slightly, revealing an enchanting arc as she threw out a huge temptation. "Not interested," Xiaowen coldly rejected. Hearing Xiaowen's repeated rejection, Hua Luoyu's face turned ugly, and her beautiful eyes revealed a ruthless look. "If you want to fight, then fight. Being so wishy-washy is not a woman." Xiaowen slowly stood up, deliberately humiliating her. "Hua Luoyu, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Hua Luoyu and Overlord's sword quickly communicated with each other, and decided to take advantage of Yi Chunfeng's injuries to kill him and eliminate a great threat. "Zhu Shiqi, I'll help you block the 2 of them. Hurry up and heal your wounds." Xiaowen summoned her 4-beast banner and had it revolve around her. She transmitted her voice to Yi Chunfeng, who seemed to be heavily injured. "Haha, it's just 2 small fries. There's no need to heal them," Yi Chunfeng laughed out loud and said arrogantly. His voice revealed his confidence in his strength. The sounding snake's attack might have severely injured Yi Chunfeng and shattered several of his ribs, but Yi Chunfeng had cultivated his life Dao intent to the 7th heaven. With the help of the life Dao pattern, his shattered ribs and severely injured body were healing at an extremely fast speed. "All right, leave that fickle woman to me." You go and deal with that hairy and ugly gorilla, Xiaowen said in a hoarse voice. Hualuoyu, Overlord Sword, I'll tear your mouth apart. The extremely beautiful and prideful Hualuoyu had never suffered such humiliation before. She was instantly enraged and summoned her low-grade Dao artifact, Full Moon Scimitar. She formed 2 crescent-shaped blade arcs and slashed at Xiaowen. Offensive array pattern. With a thought from Xiaowen, the 4-beast banner started to revolve at high speed and condensed a large amount of offensive array patterns. They ripped through the air and shattered the crescent-shaped blade arcs. Immediately after, the 4-beast banner condensed into a terrifying array pattern and attacked Hualuoyu with heaven-shaking power. Bloody Slaughter 1000 Heavy Sword. While Hualuoyu and Xiaowen were engaged in an intense battle, Overlord Sword let out a roar. 70 Dao of sword and 50 Dao of blood gushed out. As he brandished his purple-gold heavy sword, they surged and formed layers upon layers of blood-colored sword tides that swept towards Yi Chunfeng. 4 Style of Massacre, Devil Slaying. Yi Chunfeng activated his will of sword and will of death with all his might, infusing it into the low-grade Dao sword in his hand. He slashed out with his sword, and a sword light as black as ink that carried the power to slay demons slashed at the blood-red sword wave like a hot knife through butter. The powerful attack forcefully tore a huge sword scar in the blood-colored sword wave and destroyed it. 4 Style of Massacre? Could you be a direct disciple of Xingluo Heaven City? Overlord Sword raised his brows and revealed a surprised expression. It made him suspect Yi Chunfeng's identity. 8 Sha Azura Art. While Overlord Sword was in shock, Yi Chunfeng circulated the 8 Sha Azura Art to the extreme and condensed 8 Slaughter Halos. After increasing the slaughter power by 8 layers, he slashed out with his low-grade Dao sword. Who exactly are you? Looking at the 8 Slaughter Halos condensed by Yi Chunfeng, Overlord Sword was even more shocked. The 8 Sha Azura Art was one of the top inheritances of Xingluo Heaven City. Ordinary direct disciples would have a hard time learning it. As one of the top 10 experts of the star field, Overlord Sword was very familiar with the direct disciples of Xingluo Heaven City and had a good relationship with them. Therefore, he was even more surprised and suspicious of Yi Chunfeng's identity. 4 Style of Massacre, Blood Remnant. Yi Chunfeng didn't pay attention to Overlord Sword. He pushed his sword Dao Intent and Death Dao Intent to the extreme and fused them with 8 layers of slaughter power, forming a dense blood-colored sword light. The terrifying blood-colored sword light covered the void and slashed out like a rain of blood, forcing Overlord Sword to face the attack with all his strength. F***CK. Is this guy not injured? Overlord Sword found that Yi Chunfeng was getting fiercer and fiercer as the battle went on. He didn't show any signs of injury while his attacks were completely suppressed by Yi Chunfeng. He couldn't accept this reality. Eternal Night. Suppressing Overlord Sword in terms of offense, Yi Chunfeng used the strongest killing move of the 4 Style of Massacre. A pitch-black sword light sword into the 9 heavens. It was fused with the power of slaughter and several Dao intent. It was as if it wanted to cut open the heaven and earth as it slashed towards Overlord Sword. The Eternal Night sword light slashed through the space and swallowed all the brilliance. Overlord Sword smelled the thick threat of death and immediately used a powerful Dao technique to face the attack. When Overlord Sword relied on his powerful attack to resist the Eternal Night sword light, Yi Chunfeng approached him with sword steps. A punch filled with 40 million gene of force landed on Overlord Sword's body and sent him flying. He coughed out a large amount of blood. Overlord Sword was injured by Yi Chunfeng. Hualuoyu's attacks were also suppressed by Xiaowen. Her Dao Treasure White Lotus was suppressed by the 4-beast flag and couldn't display its full power. Alright, I'm not playing with you anymore. Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman suppress. With a thought from Xiaowen, a yellow Dao talisman that was about a foot long appeared around her body. The powerful force caused the space around her to distort. Gu Dao treasure. This Xia Wen still possesses a Gu Dao treasure. Feeling the might of the heavenly mountain Dao talisman, Yi Chunfeng raised his brows and revealed a surprised expression. He didn't expect Xia Wen to have so many secrets. He was even more curious about her identity. Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman, suppress. Xia Wen controlled the Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman to suppress Hua Luoyu, whose expression greatly changed. The mountain-like pressure caused Hua Luoyu's body to tremble and uncontrollably fall to the ground. Whoosh! When Hua Luoyu was suppressed by the Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman and her mobility was limited, Xia Wen quickly made her move. She interweaved sharp Dao patterns and broke through Hua Luoyu's body defense, tearing several holes in her martial Dao robe, revealing her snow-white skin and slightly curved white curves. "I will kill you!" Hua Luoyu was completely infuriated by Xia Wen's tearing of her clothes. She didn't hesitate to burn her bloodline power and wanted to transform into her beast soul form to counterattack. Tisk tisk. At this moment, Xia Wen continued to make her move. The crisscrossing Dao patterns unceasingly tore Xia Wen's clothes, exposing her hot and alluring body and her perfectly round and slender legs. "And not bad, not bad. You are truly an irresistible beauty," Xia Wen teased as she looked through Hua Luoyu's torn clothes and saw her exposed body. "Just you wait. I will never let you go." With her body exposed, Hua Luoyu was so ashamed that she couldn't show her face. She didn't dare to stay any longer. She left behind a ruthless sentence and forcefully used blood escape to escape. With Hua Luoyu's escape, the heavily injured Overlord's sword didn't dare to stay any longer. He quickly abandoned Yi Chunfeng and escaped. Seeing the two escaping, Yi Chunfeng was about to chase after them. However, he received Xia Wen's transmission. He hesitated for a moment and gave up the thought of chasing after them. He then went to Xia Wen's side. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 859. What? You want them to take the lead? Help us break the ancient medicinal garden's restriction? Yi Chunfeng asked as he looked at the mysterious Xia Wen. He guessed what she wanted to do. That's right. Judging from their method of crossing the river of death, they seem to be very familiar with the ancient ruins. With their help, our chances of picking the ancient spiritual medicine will be much higher. Moreover, their strength is inferior to ours. Even if they really manage to pick the ancient spiritual medicine, we will be able to make them spit it out, said Xia Wen craftily. Good, then we'll let them live for a few more days. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, Oh right, Xia Wen, I have something to ask you. What is it? Xia Wen asked with a hoarse voice. Thinking of the scene where Xia Wen humiliated Hua Luoyu and tore her clothes, Yi Chunfeng curiously asked, Do you like women? Xia Wen, in fact, whatever women have, you should have as well. Why bother? Yi Chunfeng sincerely said. Xia Wen, Zhu 17 you. Do you believe that I won't tear your mouth apart? Xia Wen's lungs were about to explode as she angrily said, What do you mean by should have as well? How am I abnormal? Good. Everyone has their own secret. I won't ask and won't say. Yi Chunfeng shrugged and said, You're despicable, you're shameless, you. Xia Wen was furious. She reverted to her real voice and was about to teach Yi Chunfeng a lesson. However, Yi Chunfeng's reaction was faster. After teasing Xia Wen, he flew away using the sword steps, leaving Xia Wen with no place to vent her anger. After crossing the river of death, they were very close to the ancient medicinal garden. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wen wanted Overlord's sword and Xia Wen to take the lead, so they slowed down and slowly flew through the Black Mountain forest. It's almost dark. Let's go to that cave to rest for the night. Yi Chunfeng saw that the sky was gradually darkening and pointed at a secluded cave not far away that was mostly covered by weeds. Sure, Xiaowen slyly said, but you also know that I like women and have no interest in men. So, I'll have to trouble you to stay outside the cave for the night. After saying that, a light flashed beneath Xiaowen's feet and she rushed into the cave ahead of Yi Chunfeng. She controlled the 4 beast flags to seal the entrance of the cave and left Yi Chunfeng outside. Sigh, it's better to provoke a villain than a woman. Yi Chunfeng bitterly smiled as he looked at the cave sealed by the 4 beast flags. He sighed helplessly. He could only wait outside the cave and recuperate as he passed through the long night. After a night of recuperation, Yi Chunfeng used the Life Tao pattern to basically heal his body that was severely injured by the sounding snake. He then continued to fly deeper into the Black Forest with Xiaowen. As Xiaowen controlled the 4 beasts flag to break through several restrictions, they finally arrived at the depths of the Black Forest, outside the ancient medicinal garden that had existed for countless years. I finally found this ancient medicinal garden. Xiaowen was so excited that her body trembled when she saw the ancient medicinal garden that was enveloped by layers of restrictions. It was like an immortal island with flowing immortal mist, hundreds of blooming flowers, waterfalls, springs, and towering ancient trees. Xiaowen, since you know that this ancient medicinal garden has the death datura, why didn't you pick it earlier? Sensing Xiaowen's excitement, Yi Chunfeng asked with a puzzled expression. Do you think that I didn't want to pick it earlier? This ancient medicinal garden's restrictions will weaken once every 10,000 years. It will only be open for 3 years every time, and it is impossible to enter during normal times. I reckon that very few people in the entire Xingluo continent know that the ancient medicinal garden's restrictions will change every 10,000 years. Furthermore, the ancient medicinal garden is filled with restrictions, and there are even more terrifying existences inside. After countless years, the number of people who can enter the core area of the ancient medicinal garden can be counted with one's fingers. If you can't enter the core area, you won't be able to pick a heavenly herb like the Death Datura. Xiaowen slowly explained. Then it means that you have a method to enter the core area of the ancient medicinal garden. Yi Chunfeng laughed and said. It's not a method, but an opportunity. Xiaowen said, however, as long as you can help me capture the Death Datura, I will naturally fulfill my promise and do my best to help you pick the other ancient spiritual herbs. Rumble. As they spoke, a shocking explosion resounded in the ancient medicinal garden. Dazzling restriction lights lit up in the ancient medicinal garden, illuminating the heaven and earth, and causing shocking changes. Hualuyu, Overlord's sword and the others have already entered the ancient medicinal garden. When he heard the explosion in the ancient medicinal garden, Yi Chunfeng immediately radiated the energy of the God-Eater brain into the ancient medicinal garden to sense the changes in the ancient medicinal garden's restrictions. There's no hurry. This ancient medicinal garden has experienced so many years. Most of the ancient spiritual herbs in the outer perimeter have already been picked. Even if we enter now, we won't be able to gain much. It won't be too late for us to enter after they break through a few more restrictions. Xiaowen said calmly. All right. Yi Chunfeng nodded and sat cross-legged outside the ancient medicinal garden. He controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the restrictions in the outer perimeter of the ancient medicinal garden and patiently waited. As time passed, the explosions in the ancient medicinal garden became louder and louder. Using astonishing methods, Hualuoyu and Overlord's sword continuously broke through the restrictions in the outer perimeter of the ancient medicinal garden. However, as Xiaowen had guessed, Hualuoyu and Overlord's sword didn't manage to pick a single ancient spiritual herb even after breaking through several restrictions. This made the two of them extremely depressed. Unwilling to give up, Hualuoyu and Overlord Jian continued to delve deeper into the ancient medicinal garden in search of ancient spirit herbs. Suddenly, a black figure that seemed to have merged with the void and was like a wisp of spirit fog appeared. It glanced at the two of them, and then mysteriously disappeared. The aura of a restriction. The restriction in this pool shouldn't have been discovered by anyone. Hua Luoyu and Overlord Sword discovered a pool in the ancient medicinal garden that was emitting traces of cold air. When they sensed the aura of a restriction in the pool, they didn't hesitate to jump into the bone-chilling cold pool and joined forces to attack the restriction hidden in the bottom of the pool. Boom, boom, boom. Under their relentless attacks, the restriction at the bottom of the pool broke. Immediately after, a high-pitched beast roar sounded. A dragon eel with the head of a flood dragon and a long, flat body flew out of the broken restriction like a bolt of lightning. It released destructive thunder and bombarded the two of them. Level 8 Heavenly Beast Dragon Eel. Seeing the dragon eel break out of the restriction, Hua Luoyu and Overlord Sword immediately wielded their Dao artifacts and used powerful Dao techniques to attack it. In the water, the dragon eel's attacks were extremely terrifying. The destructive thunder it released caused great trouble for Hua Luoyu and Overlord Sword. It constantly broke through their defenses and injured their bodies. White Lotus. Facing the dragon eel that was as fast as lightning and filled the sky with thunderbolts, it slowly bloomed. Sword-like white lotus flowers flew out of Hua Luoyu's mouth and attacked the dragon eel like a meteor that tore through the sky. Under the attack of the white lotus, the dragon eel's hard scales were instantly shattered. Its huge body was pierced by the white lotus, leaving a bloody hole. A large amount of blood flowed out. It was in so much pain that it roared in anger. Controlling the white lotus to injure the dragon eel, Hua Luoyu and Overlord Sword chased after the dragon eel. They continuously used powerful Dao techniques to bombard the dragon eel's wounds, forcibly breaking its body and killing it. After killing the dragon eel, the two of them immediately dug out the dragon eel's monster core. Just as they were about to enter the broken restriction and pick up the ancient spiritual herbs growing in the restriction, two afterimages broke through the blood-stained cold pool and appeared at an extremely fast speed. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 860. The two of you have worked hard. In order to thank the two of you for your efforts, we will make good use of the ancient elixir in this restriction. Xiaowen, who was wearing a silver mask and a loose black robe, looked at Hua Luoyu and Hua Luoyu with ridicule and spoke with a hoarse voice. It's you too. Seeing the sudden appearance of Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen, Hua Luoyu's expression turned extremely gloomy. She was like an enraged little wild cat, and her eyes flickered with uncontrollable rage. Overlord Sword, use all your strength to stop them. I will go and pick the ancient elixir. Hua Luoyu transmitted a message. All right. Although Overlord Sword's repeated defeats to Yi Chunfeng had left quite a bit of psychological shadow, in order to pick the precious ancient elixir, he didn't back down. He instantly ignited his bloodline power and transformed into his strongest beast soul form. He then launched his strongest attack at Yi Chunfeng and Hua Luoyu. Overlord Sword's invincible. Overlord Sword unleashed his sword Dao pattern and blood Dao intent to the extreme as he continuously slashed out tyrannical sword light. With an unstoppable sword prowess, he slashed towards Yi Chunfeng and Yi Shiwen with heaven-shaking might. Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman, break! Overlord Sword continuously slashed out his invincible Overlord Sword. Xiaowen immediately spat out the ancient Dao Treasure Mountain Dao Talisman. With the suppressive power of a majestic mountain, it crushed the incomparably tyrannical sword lights and ruthlessly suppressed Overlord Sword, whose expression changed greatly, forcing him to dodge with all his strength. Overlord Sword was forced back by Xiaowen's Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman. Yi Chunfeng used his sword steps and leaped into the air. The terrifying sword Dao pattern tore through the bone-chilling lake water and chased after Hualuyu. They entered the ancient restriction and saw an ancient spirit flower that was entirely blue in color. It was sparkling with water luster, and its flower was bigger than a washbasin. It was an ancient spirit flower with dozens of jade pearls. 7 Sword of Judgment, heaven-shattering. Just as Hualuyu was about to pluck this blue spirit flower, a cold blue light was released from the huge flower and froze the approaching Hualuyu. Yi Qinfeng, who was in hot pursuit, also drew out a low-grade Dao sword. He pushed his sword Dao insight to the limit and slashed out with the sky-shattering sword. It was like a spatial crack as it slashed towards Hualuyu, whose expression had changed slightly. Facing attacks from both the front and back, Hualuyu had no choice but to rely on her speed to dodge. However, the moment she dodged, Yi Qinfeng appeared in front of her with his sword steps. Dense sword Dao patterns attacked her, forcing her to defend with all her strength. When Hualuyu relied on her strength to block the sword Dao pattern attack, the black flame heavenly flames poured into Yi Qinfeng's right fist. He increased his physical strength to 15 million kilograms and blasted out the great sun fist light that was like a blazing sun. He punched towards Hualuyu's towering chest. Bang! The powerful great sun heavenly fire fist smashed into the 2 full moon scimitars that Hualuyu was protecting in front of her chest. The terrifying power shook her back and she spat out a mouthful of blood. White Lotus. With her body injured, Hualuyu immediately controlled the Dao treasure, White Lotus, to attack Yi Qinfeng. She wanted to make use of the Dao treasure's prowess to severely injure Yi Qinfeng. Vermilion Bird Cauldron, suppress. As the high-speed revolving White Lotus attacked, Yi Qinfeng struck out with the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and awakened the Vermilion Bird Soul to receive the attack with all his strength. Boom! The 2 Dao treasures clashed together and formed a terrifying shockwave at the bottom of the ice-cold lake, causing the entire lake to tremble violently. Qi and blood burn, beast soul form. In order to pluck the ancient spirit flower, Hualuyu rapidly burned all the qi, blood, and bloodline power in her body. She suppressed the churning qi and blood and transformed into her strongest beast soul form before attacking Yi Qinfeng. After receiving Hualuyu's strongest attack, Yi Qinfeng didn't retreat. He wielded the low-grade Dao sword and slashed ferociously as he faced Hualuyu head-on. The 2 Dao treasures were also constantly clashing with each other under the control of their intent. Just as Yi Qinfeng and Hualuyu were engaged in an intense battle, an uncontrollable figure suddenly passed through the restriction crack and crashed down. Overlord Sword. Seeing the heavily injured Overlord Sword with a bloody wound on his body, Hualuyu panicked and her attention was diverted. Yi Qinfeng also didn't waste this opportunity. He condensed 8 slaughter halos to increase his strength and attacked Hualuyu with all his strength. Just as Yi Qinfeng seized this opportunity to attack with all his strength, wanting to heavily injure Hualuyu, Xia Wen's anxious voice suddenly sounded. Zhu 17, quickly come and help me. I can't hold on any longer. And what an evil power! Hearing Xia Wen's cry for help, Yi Qinfeng immediately released the soul force in his mind. He felt an extremely evil power appear in the lake and was attacking Xia Wen with all its strength. Spirit Fish, Blood River, quickly pluck the ancient spirit flower and kill these 2 people. Feeling that Xia Wen was in danger, Yi Qinfeng immediately summoned the Spirit Fish and the King of Massacre from the Universe Realm. He ordered them to pluck the ancient spirit flower and kill Hualuyu and Hualuyu. He stepped on his sword and flew up to help Xia Wen deal with the evil power. Where did these 2 people come from? Seeing the Spirit Fish and the King of Massacre appear out of thin air, Hualuyu's eyes widened. She looked as if she had seen a ghost. While she was still in shock, the King of Massacre summoned the instant ancient mirror and shone it at Hualuyu. The terrifying instant ancient mirror directly sent Hualuyu, who was unable to dodge in time, flying. The king of massacre immediately injured Hualu. At this moment, the spirit fish appeared beside the ancient spirit flower. Relying on its powerful bloodline power, it suppressed the ancient spirit flower and forcefully plucked it. "Let's go." Seeing the spirit fish pluck the ancient spirit flower, Hualuoyu gritted her teeth in hatred. However, the king of massacre's threat was too great. She could only grit her teeth and swallow her anger. She quickly flew up to the lake with the heavily injured overlord's sword. When they flew out of the heavily damaged restriction, Hualuoyu saw a black shadow with an evil aura fighting against Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen. Its powerful attacks actually suppressed Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen's attack. Feeling the threat of death from the black shadow, Hualuoyu and Xiaowen did not dare to stay for long. They endured their injuries and quickly fled. "Xiaowen, what is that thing? Why is it so powerful?" Yi Chunfeng discovered that the dual suppression of the Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman and the Vermilion Bird Cauldron were unable to suppress the figure bathed in evil aura. He quickly asked with a voice transmission. "It is the most terrifying existence in the ancient herb garden, the ancient undead spirit. It is the soul of an ancient expert that devoured a large number of living beings. After countless years, it evolved. If it continues to devour living beings, it is very likely that it will reach the limit of this world and ascend." Xiaowen, who felt the pressure, transmitted a voice transmission. "What is the origin of this ancient herb garden? How can there be such a terrifying thing?" Yi Chunfeng asked in shock. "When you help me pluck the death devil's snare, I will tell you the origin of this ancient herb garden." Xiaowen, who was controlling the 4 beast flags to weave a large number of killing runes, transmitted a voice transmission. "Sigh, let's deal with it first." Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and continuously spat blood essence into the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. He activated the power of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and used all his strength to suppress the ancient undead spirit. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen worked together to fight the ancient undead spirit, the King of Massacre and the Spirit Fish also rushed over and launched a fierce attack on the ancient undead spirit. Under the King of Massacre's control of the ancient instant mirror and the Spirit Fish's powerful bloodline attacks, the terrifying ancient undead spirit's attacks were suppressed bit by bit. Finally, after being attacked by 2 Gu Dao treasure, the ancient undead spirit's soul was injured and retreated. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 861. Phew, that evil guy is finally gone. Xiaowen, who had consumed a lot of energy, let out a long sigh of relief. She kept the Tianshan Dao Talisman and 4 beast flag, and said with lingering fear, "Zhu 17, who are they? How did they come out?" Xiaowen asked curiously as she looked at the unfamiliar King of Massacre and the Spirit Fish that had strangely appeared. Especially the cute Lingyu, who looked young, gave her a great shock. This was the first time she had seen such a young emperor-level expert. "Everyone has their own secrets, don't you think so?" Yi Chunfeng smiled and used her own words to stop her from saying anything. Xiaowen gritted her teeth angrily, but she could not refute. She could only glare at Yi Chunfeng angrily. "Brother, I plucked this from below. Here you go." The Spirit Fish took out a strange blue flower that was bigger than a water basin and gave off dense spiritual energy. Then, it handed it to Yi Chunfeng. "Aquatic Flower King, I didn't expect this ancient seal to grow a aquatic flower king. Legend has it that this aquatic flower king will only bloom after 30,000 years. The first time it blossoms, it will have 18 petals. Every 10,000 years, it will grow an extra petal. Now, this aquatic flower king has 36 petals, which means it has reached 210,000 years old. Its value definitely surpasses an ordinary great Dao pill." Xiaowen, who was very familiar with the ancient herb garden, said, As expected of the ancient herb garden, it even has a aquatic flower king of this age. In the outside world, not to mention a aquatic flower king that was 210,000 years old, even a aquatic flower king that was several 10,000 years old was rarely seen. But in the ancient herb garden, the first aquatic flower king that he had obtained was over 200,000 years old. This made Yi Chunfeng look forward to the ancient herb garden even more. If there was really a blood dragon ginseng here, then a blood dragon ginseng that was several 100,000 years old would have a terrifying medicinal strength. Ling Yu, this aquatic flower king is for you. I hope you can break through to rank 3 combat beast emperor soon. Yi Chunfeng generously gave the aquatic flower king to Ling Yu. Thank you, brother. Ling Yu's beautiful big eyes curved into a crescent shape as she said sweetly. Let's go, let's leave this place. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng and the other 3 left the heavily damaged pool and appeared outside. Xiaowen, what should we do next? Yi Chunfeng used his soul force to dry his drenched clothes. He looked at Xiaowen, who was wearing a black robe that tightly wrapped around her body, revealing her voluptuous figure. To the northwest, Xiaowen dried his robe and held a multi-edged ancient disc in his hand. He sensed for a moment before following a rugged path of crushed rocks to lead Yi Chunfeng's group of 3 towards the northwest direction of the ancient medicinal garden. As they ventured deeper into the ancient herb garden, Yi Chunfeng and the others constantly encountered extremely well-hidden and powerful restrictions, as well as the attacks of numerous ancient poisonous insects that were not very intelligent but had astonishing offensive capabilities. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng's group of 4 was very strong. In addition to Xiaowen and Yi Chunfeng's attainments in array runes, they worked together and constantly broke through the restrictions in the ancient medicinal garden. They killed the poison beasts that darted out from time to time and slowly approached the core area of the ancient medicinal garden. Roar! A painful beast roar resounded. A calf-sized purple poison toad with disgusting lumps all over its body and blood-red eyes, comparable to a rank 5 combat beast emperor expert, was killed by Yi Chunfeng's group of 4. Its monster core was dug out by Yi Chunfeng, and its heart was refined into essence blood, which was given to the evolving space swallower. If the guidance is correct, we will enter the core area of the ancient medicinal garden once we break through the restrictions in front. Xiaowen repeatedly sensed with the multi-edged ancient disc and said, however, the restrictions in front are extremely powerful, it won't be easy to break through them. Leave the breaking of the restrictions in front to me. Yi Chunfeng retracted his soul force. He found that although the restrictions in front were terrifying, they did not have any offensive capabilities. He decided to save time and let the space swallower directly break through them. Arriving at the floating restrictions in the sky, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the space swallower that had devoured a large amount of heavenly beast's essence blood and was slowly evolving. He ordered it to devour the restrictions in the sky. Could this be the space swallower recorded in the ancient books? Looking at the pitch-black space swallower that looked like a bean worm with sharp teeth and 4 limbs, Xiaowen showed an inconceivable expression. Xiaowen knew that she was hiding a lot of secrets, but after seeing Yi Chunfeng's many tricks and trump cards, she had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng might have more secrets than she did. Under the frenzied devouring of the space swallower bugs, a large hole about the height of a person was bitten open in the powerful sky screen restriction. Yi Chunfeng and the others sped up and flew into the large hole, entering the core of the ancient herb garden. What a dense spiritual qi! After entering the core area of the ancient medicinal garden, Yi Chunfeng immediately felt a dense spiritual qi rushing towards him. The spiritual qi was so dense that it was almost in liquid form. However, because the core area of the ancient medicinal garden had many layers of restrictions, it was extremely powerful. As far as the eye could see, it was a misty expanse that hindered vision and soul search. Fortunately, the existence of the God-Eater brain was too heaven-defying. Under the brain's rapid deduction, Its powerful soul power passed through the ancient restrictions and forcefully sensed the real situation within. Follow me, don't wander around. If you touch the hidden restrictions here, your lives will be in danger. Xiaowen controlled the multi-edged ancient disc to deduce for an incense stick's worth of time before solemnly warning them. She led Yi Chunfeng's group of 3 carefully into the depths of the ancient medicinal garden. After walking for a while, Xiaowen led Yi Chunfeng's group to a powerful ancient restriction. She wanted to forcefully break it open. Xiaowen, I feel that this restriction is empty. We don't need to break it open. After probing the restriction, Yi Chunfeng withdrew the soul power emitted by the God-Eater brain and said, Empty? Are you sure? Xiaowen doubtfully said, According to my calculations with the ancient disc, there should be an ancient spirit medicine growing in this restriction. Xiaowen, do you dare to make a bet with me? Yi Chunfeng's lips slightly curled as he playfully asked. Bet? What do you want to bet? Xiaowen tilted her head and asked. If there is an ancient spirit medicine in this restriction, then it's my loss. You can ask me to do anything for you for free. If there is no ancient spirit medicine in this restriction, then take off your mask and tell me your true identity. Yi Chunfeng said with a smile. This, hearing Yi Chunfeng's bet, Xiaowen hesitated. What, are you not confident in yourself? Yi Chunfeng provoked. If you are not confident, then forget it. Just pretend I didn't say anything. Who said I am not confident? I am just thinking. You said the bet is not fair? The proud Xiaowen loudly retorted. Don't worry, this bet is very fair. In the entire continent, there are very few people who can make me do things for free. Yi Chunfeng arrogantly said. All right, since you want to be my slave so much, I'll bet with you. When you lose, don't go back on your word. Xiaowen used the multi-edged ancient compass to sense the situation several times before finally agreeing to Yi Chunfeng's bet. Haha, whoever goes back on their word is a dog. Yi Chunfeng laughed and said with a confident expression, Let's work together to break this ancient restriction. Zhu Shiqi, I will definitely make you work like a cow or a horse. I will make you carry water for me to wash my feet. Xiaowen gritted her teeth and swore in her heart. She controlled the 4 beasts banner and joined forces with Yi Chunfeng to break the ancient restriction. Boom, boom, boom. A series of deafening explosions resounded. Under the joint attack of Yi Chunfeng and Xiaowen, the ancient restriction formed a boundless light that illuminated all things in the world. After more than 2 hours, the two spared no effort to break the ancient restriction that covered a 1-mile area. When Xiaowen impatiently entered the ancient restriction to see what was going on, her eyes widened and became dumbfounded. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 862. Aya, why aren't there any ancient spirit medicines here? Yi Chunfeng pretended to be surprised as he looked at Xiaowen, who stood there dumbstruck without moving. You, how do you know that there aren't any ancient spirit medicines in this restriction? Xiaowen, who'd recovered from her shock, roared in exasperation. A man's sixth sense. Yi Chunfeng said with a smile. You're lying to a fool. Xiaowen flew into a rage out of humiliation, and she didn't believe Yi Chunfeng at all. All right, Xiaowen, you have to accept reality. Come, take off your mask and let me see what you look like. Aren't you an outstanding beauty? Yi Chunfeng looked at Xiaowen's fluttering robe as he spoke playfully. Xiaowen was furious. She felt that she'd jumped into a trap set up by Yi Chunfeng and was tricked by him. We had an agreement earlier. If you go back on your word, you're a dog. I think you wouldn't be a person who goes back on his word, right? Yi Chunfeng crossed his arms before his chest as he spoke indifferently. All right, I can take off my mask and tell you my identity. But a gentleman is magnanimous, so you have to let me see your true appearance and tell me your identity. Xiaowen spat out a breath of air as she looked at Yi Chunfeng with a burning gaze. You know that I'm not wearing my true appearance now? Yi Chunfeng's brows raised as he spoke with slight surprise. That little trick of yours can only deceive a fool. But since you're able to cultivate the illusory Tao insight to the 6th level at your age, it proves that you're not a piece of trash. Xiaowen grunted lightly as she spoke proudly. Yi Chunfeng's brows raised as monstrous waves surged in his heart. Never had he imagined that Xiaowen was so monstrous to actually see through his comprehension of the illusory Tao insight and see through his disguise. You 17, are you willing to exchange secrets with me? The corners of Xiaowen's mouth that was hidden under the silver mask curled up slightly as she looked at Yi Chunfeng's shocked expression. Xiaowen, why should I exchange secrets with you? Also, can't you be a little more manly? It's so annoying to be so wishy-washy, Yi Chunfeng urged. Xiaowen, all right, I won't force you. At worst, I'll just randomly come up with an identity. You won't know if it's real or not, Xiaowen muttered in a low voice. Yi Chunfeng. In the end, Yi Chunfeng yielded. Under the witness of the King of Slaughter and the Spirit Fish, the two of them swore an oath to the heavens and revealed their true identities. My name is Xia Wendi. I come from the Xia clan of the Xingluo continent. Xia Wendi took a deep breath and revealed her true name and identity. The Xia family? Yi Chunfeng frowned and asked suspiciously, Why have I never heard of the Xia family? You're not lying to me, are you? My Xia clan is a hidden clan. It is normal for an ignorant person like you to not have heard of us. Xia Wendu proudly said. Hidden clan Xia clan. Xia. Yi Chunfeng thought for a while and suddenly remembered the introduction in the jade slip of the Star Emperor. The Star Emperor's surname was Xia. He immediately connected it to Xia Wendi's identity. You're a descendant of the Star Emperor? Yi Chunfeng asked with some surprise. No. Xia Wendi replied without hesitation. All right, I won't ask what I shouldn't ask. Now, can you let me see your appearance? Although Xia Wendi's answer was very firm, Yi Chunfeng had a feeling that the mysterious Xia Wendi was very likely related to the number 1 person in the Xingluo continent, the Star Emperor. After hesitating for a while, Xia Wendi stretched out her jade-like hands from her black robe and took off the silver mask that covered her true appearance. Seeing Xia Wendi's true appearance, the spirit fish suddenly covered its mouth with its small hands to prevent itself from shouting. Yi Chunfeng, who had seen many storms and waves, also revealed a trace of surprise. Xia Wendi looked to be in her 20s. Her skin was whiter than snow, and her facial features were as delicate as carved jade. However, a centipede-like scar ran diagonally across her entire face, revealing the eerie white bones. It destroyed all the beauty of her face, making her look somewhat ferocious. Have you seen enough? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's expression change, Xia Wendi coldly asked. Sorry, I didn't know it would be like this. Yi Chunfeng finally understood why Xia Wendi always wore the silver mask, and said apologetically. If it wasn't for this scar, Xia Wendi's appearance would be flawless, and she would definitely be a beauty capable of causing the downfall of a country. However, all of this was completely ruined by this scar. It doesn't matter, I'm already used to it. Xia Wendi coldly said. Now, can you let me see your appearance and tell me your identity? All right. Yi Chunfeng nodded, dispelling the illusion on his face and restoring his true appearance. He then told her his true name and identity of coming from the outer sea. Sure enough, it's just as I thought. You're a pretty boy. Xia Wendi rolled her eyes at Yi Chunfeng and said without any trace of politeness, But I didn't expect you to come from the outer sea. That, is the outer sea beautiful? The outer world is very beautiful. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, If you have the chance, you can go out and take a stroll. Chance. Thinking of her broken meridians and the condition of her body, Xia Wendi revealed a trace of sadness. However, with her optimistic nature, she quickly recovered and said, That's right, tell me honestly, can you accurately sense the truth of the ancient restriction? More or less. Yi Chunfeng nodded. Good, then leave the matter of leading the way to me. I'll leave the matter of finding the ancient spirit herbs to you. We will work together. If you can help me pick the death datura, I will definitely repay you. Xia Wendy promised. Rest assured, as long as there is a death datura here, I will definitely help you pick it. Yi Chunfeng nodded and promised. Finished speaking, Xia Wendy once again put on the silver mask, hiding her ferocious true appearance. She controlled the multi-edged ancient plate to deduce the route, then led Yi Chunfeng's group of 3 through the gaps between the layers of restrictions, looking for the ancient spirit herbs. Just as the 4 of them disappeared into the layers of restrictions, the ancient spirit that had swallowed countless creatures strangely appeared. It glanced at the direction of Yi Chunfeng's group of 4 from afar, then disappeared into the restrictions again. In the hundreds of thousands of years, the ancient medicinal garden had opened many times. Too many experts had entered here to pick the spirit herbs, so most of the spirit herbs in the ancient restrictions had been picked. As they went deeper into the ancient medicinal garden, the restrictions became stronger and stronger, putting Yi Chunfeng's group of 4 under great pressure. Finally, as evening approached, the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly deducing and sensing, sensed the aura of ancient spirit herbs in front of a vast ancient restriction. What a powerful aura of life! There are spirit herbs in that ancient restriction, and there is more than one. Yi Chunfeng pointed at the ancient restriction in front of them. Good, let's work together to break this ancient restriction and see what kind of ancient spirit herbs are hidden inside. Xia Wendy's eyes lit up. She summoned the 4 beast flags and joined forces with Yi Chunfeng to break the ancient restriction in front of them. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy's attainments in array formations were extremely high, and with the help of the King of Slaughter and the Spirit Fish, they tore open the ancient restriction when it was dark. When they entered the ancient restriction, a strong aura of life hit them in the face. In this ancient restriction, there were 11 1-inch tall herbs with 6 snow-white leaves and jade-green fruits the size of a longan. When Yi Chunfeng saw the 11 white herbs with green fruits, the truth of these 11 ancient spirit herbs immediately flashed through his mind, and he fell into a deep surprise. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 863. Living Holy Grass. 11 living holy grass that have already matured and formed fruit. Looking at the 11 ancient spiritual grasses in front of him, Yi Chunfeng was so excited that he was speechless. The living holy grass was also known as the grass of resurrection. It had already gone extinct in the Duhan continent. The recovery ability of the living holy grass was even higher than the living spirit that Yi Chunfeng had captured in the extreme of life. It could even heal the damage to one's soul. It could be said that no matter how serious the injury was, as long as one was still breathing, one could recover completely after consuming the living holy grass. In the Duhan continent, the value of a matured living holy grass that had formed fruits was definitely higher than a great Dao pill and was even more valuable than an ancient great Dao pill. If Yi Chunfeng could successfully pluck these 11 living holy grass, it would be equivalent to having 11 extra lives. In the future life and death battles, these living holy grass would be enough for Yi Chunfeng to turn the tables and turn the tides. Not only did Yi Chunfeng recognize the living holy grass, Xia Wendy, who was very familiar with the ancient herb garden, also recognized the living holy grass and was moved. However, they did not move. All of them looked at the pile of rocks behind the living holy grass. In the pile of rocks that was dozens of meters high, they could feel a terrifying guardian. Level 9 Heavenly Beast. The guardian of these 11 living holy grass is a level 9 Heavenly Beast. A level 9 Heavenly Beast was equivalent to a level 6 Combat Beast Emperor. It was a great threat to everyone. Yi Chunfeng did not dare to be careless. With a thought, he summoned the Supreme Grade Formation Core Stone and 500 formation flags and quickly formed a powerful 100-kill formation above his head. At the same time, Xia Wendy also controlled the 4 beast flags to form the 4 beast killing formation. She was ready to kill the guardian of the 11 living holy grass and pluck the living holy grass. Brother Tringfeng, I will lure that big guy out. You guys pay attention to your attacks. Lin Yu said bravely to protect himself. Okay, be careful. Yi Chunfeng nodded and reminded. Whoosh! Lin Yu stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and turned into a flash of light, approaching the 11 living holy grass. Ayo ayo! When they got close to the living spirit grass, waves of earth-shattering beast roars came out from the pile of rocks that were tens of meters high. A 3-meter-tall stone turtle, which had 4 limbs that were like sky-supporting pillars, a rock-like turtle shell on its back, and a pair of lightning-like eyes, smashed through a few stone pillars and rushed out. It let out a terrifying roar towards the spirit fish, which shocked it and forced it to back off. The blood and chi in its body started to boil intensely. Level 9 Heavenly Beast Stone Turtle, the guardian of the living spirit grass. I didn't expect it to be such a demonic beast. Seeing the stone tortoise charging out, Yi Chunfeng and the others couldn't help but look serious. The stone tortoise's defense was extremely strong. It was very difficult to break through its defense and kill it. After a quick discussion, Yi Chunfeng and the others decided to use the formation to trap the Zhuang tortoise and forcefully dig out the 11 living holy grasses. 100 killing formation. 4 beasts killing formation, trap. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy controlled the 2 great formations to attack the stone tortoise, wanting to trap it within the formation. However, the stone tortoise's intelligence was extremely high, and its speed was shockingly fast. Before the 2 great formations could reach it, it exerted force on its 4 thick limbs and stomped on the ground, making a buzzing sound as it dodged the 2 great formations. Then, it charged towards Yi Chunfeng and the others with a terrifying roar, charging towards them like a rolling tide. Ancient Instant Mirror. The King of Slaughter quickly spat out a mouthful of essence blood into the ancient instant mirror, activating the mirror's power. Boundless mirror light shot out, bombarding the incoming roar, forming an endless energy wave. God's shocking fist. Seeing that the ancient instant mirror couldn't block the roar, the spirit fish quickly threw out a punch. It was as if doomsday had arrived, landing on the roar, blocking the stone tortoise's roar. However, the stone tortoise's strength was too terrifying. Even the King of Slaughter and the spirit fish couldn't block its roar. The ancient instant mirror and God's shocking fist both shattered. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Suzaku Cauldron and Xia Wendy controlled the Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman to suppress the stone tortoise's roar. Relying on the powerful Dao treasures, they finally managed to block the stone tortoise's roar. Then, Yi Chunfeng, Xia Wendy, and the King of Slaughter controlled the 3 Dao treasures to suppress the stone tortoise. Boom, boom, boom. The destructive suppression formed by the 3 Dao treasures bombarded the stone tortoise's huge body with earth-shattering force, forcibly slowing down its movements. Taking advantage of this rare opportunity, the 100 killing formation and 4 beasts killing formation enveloped the stone tortoise, directly trapping it within the 2 great ancient formations. Roar, roar, roar. Trapped within the ancient formations, the stone tortoise immediately went crazy, letting out a destructive roar. Its huge body spun like a disc, carrying the momentum of heaven and earth, crushing the attacks of the 2 great ancient formations and heavily bombarding the double ancient formations. The stone tortoise's meteorite-like attack directly tore apart the double ancient formations, forcing Yi Chunfeng and the others, who were close to the 11 living herbs, to retreat. Too strong, this stone tortoise is too strong. I'm afraid this stone tortoise's strength has surpassed an ordinary level 6 combat beast emperor. Facing the level 9 heavenly beast stone tortoise, Yi Chunfeng felt that it was tricky. He felt that even the chaos divine wood could not suppress it. The only thing that could hurt it was the 9-dragon jade annulus. Despicable humans, go to hell! The stone tortoise suddenly spoke human language, letting out a ferocious roar. Its huge body continued to spin, crushing a large area of the void. It flew towards Yi Chunfeng and the others, wanting to crush them to death. Suzaku Cauldron! Ancient Instant Mirror! Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman! Facing the almost invincible stone tortoise, Yi Chunfeng and the others could only control their Dao treasures and Gu Dao treasure to attack. The spiritual fish's attacks were pale and powerless, unable to break the stone tortoise's defense at all. They stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and kept dodging. 9-dragon jade annulus. When the 3 Dao treasures were knocked away by the rapidly spinning stone tortoise, Yi Chunfeng summoned the supreme-grade sacred artifact, 9-dragon jade annulus. He continuously spat a few mouthfuls of blood essence on the 9-dragon jade annulus, awakening the spirit of the sacred artifact and activating the power of the 9-dragon jade annulus. Sacred artifact, it actually has a sacred artifact. The moment Yi Chunfeng summoned the 9-dragon jade annulus, Xia Wendy immediately identified the grade of the 9-dragon jade annulus. Her heart was in turmoil as she was shocked by Yi Chunfeng's means. The stone tortoise also felt the destructive power of the 9-dragon jade annulus and instinctively wanted to dodge. 9-dragon jade annulus kill! Yi Chunfeng emptied all the soul power in his body and poured it into the 9-dragon jade annulus. He controlled the 9-dragon jade annulus to condense an offensive dragon shadow. It tore through the void and bombarded the stone tortoise's huge body. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. The stone tortoise's shell, which was harder than a mid-grade Dao artifact, was shattered. Its huge body was blown away by the terrifying attack of the 9-dragon jade annulus, smashing a large part of the stone forest in the distance. Just as Yi Chunfeng exhausted all the soul power in his body to control the 9-dragon jade annulus to blast away the stone tortoise, the ancient undead, whose aura had fused with the forbidden fog, quietly appeared. It was holding a mid-grade Dao artifact stained with dark red blood. It weighed more than 100,000 jin and launched a fatal blow at Yi Chunfeng. The ancient undead's attack was too sudden. In addition, Yi Chunfeng had exhausted all his soul power, so his reaction was a little slow. He couldn't dodge the ancient undead's sneak attack at all. If he was hit by the ancient undead's halberd, his body, which was comparable to a low-grade Dao artifact, would be shattered without any suspense. When Yi Chunfeng was at his weakest, he encountered a life-threatening crisis and his life was hanging by a thread. Remember the URL. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 864. Swish. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to be struck by the halberd and his body shattered, he suddenly disappeared mysteriously, causing the ancient undead spirit's well-planned attack to miss. Disappeared? Where did he go? Xia Wendy, whose heart had jumped to her throat, saw Yi Chunfeng disappear mysteriously. She opened her eyes wide and revealed a look of disbelief. However, she secretly heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. God-reverting fist. The spiritual fish, who had regained her senses, completely burned her divine ape bloodline. Her petite body continued to grow, transforming into a divine ape as strong as a mountain. She blasted out the Sun Destroyer fist, bombarding the ancient undead spirit that had suddenly appeared. At the same time, the King of Massacre also controlled the ancient instant mirror to attack, bombarding the ancient undead spirit. After being attacked by both the spirit fish and the King of Massacre, the ancient undead spirit, who was as terrifying as the death god, waved his halberd and slashed out fiercely, tearing apart the god-reverting fist and shattering the ancient instant mirror. Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman, suppress! The ancient undead spirit broke through the attacks of the King of Massacre and the spirit fish. The Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman, which was filled with mountain-like suppression, bombarded the ancient undead spirit's body. Roar! The ancient undead spirit let out an inhuman roar. He waved his halberd and smashed forward. The terrifying attack shattered the suppression force and resisted the heavenly mountain Tao talisman. Boundless energy spread out from the heavenly mountain Tao talisman, distorting the void. When the space was in chaos, Yi Chunfeng, who had escaped into the universe realm and drank half of the returning heavenly water, reappeared. He held the mid-grade Tao artifact, Emperor's celestial sword, and pierced towards the ancient undead spirit's body. Sword soul break. In order to injure the ancient undead spirit, Yi Chunfeng fused his sword soul into the Emperor's celestial sword. He activated the Emperor's celestial sword's attacking power to the greatest extent and pierced through the ancient undead spirit's body, leaving behind a deep sword hole. Roar! Roar! His body had been injured by the Emperor's celestial sword, which had fused with the sword soul, and this had completely enraged the ancient dead spirit. He continuously let out terrifying roars and brandished his halberd to fiercely chop down, interrupting Yi Chunfeng's continuous attacks and forcing him to retreat. "Are you all right?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng strangely disappear and then strangely reappear, Xia Wendy immediately guessed that Yi Chunfeng had a unique spatial treasure that could contain life. She quickly came to his side and asked softly, "I'm fine, but I'm afraid I'll need some time to recover the soul power I used." While the heaven-returning water's restorative abilities were strong, it would still take some time to fully restore Yi Chunfeng's depleted soul power. "Then I'll attack. You guys help me from the side." Xia Wendy took a deep breath and took the initiative to stand in front of Yi Chunfeng. She summoned the 4 beast flags and prepared to attack with all her strength. "Despicable humans, I will devour all of you!" But at this moment, the stone tortoise that had been severely injured by the 9 dragons' jade annulus shattered the rocks on its body. It let out a ferocious roar and attacked Yi Chunfeng and the others. "Come on, let's get out of here first." Although Yi Chunfeng really wanted to pluck the 11 life spirits, the ancient undead spirit and the stone tortoise's threat was too great. With his current physical condition, he simply couldn't block their attack. He immediately decided to leave. However, the extremely intelligent ancient undead spirit that had devoured countless life spirits did not give Yi Chunfeng and the others the chance to leave. It held the halberd in its hand and sealed off their path of retreat. It wanted to join forces with the stone tortoise to kill them all and devour their powerful souls. "Don't fight, let's kill our way out." Seeing the ancient undead spirit blocking his path, Yi Chunfeng did not shrink back. He stepped out using the sword steps and slashed out the ruling sword with one hand and the illusory dragon water shadow with the other, both attacking the ancient undead spirit. Xia Wendy and the King of Massacre also launched their strongest attacks at the same time. They controlled the 2 Gu Dao treasures to attack the ancient undead spirit. On the other hand, the spiritual fish that was at the back continuously attacked the stone tortoise with the god-shocking fist, trying its best to slow down its attack. At the same time, it was attacked by Yi Chunfeng and the others. The ancient undead spirit mobilized all the death energy in its body and waved its halberd to attack fiercely. It constantly tore apart Yi Chunfeng's attacks and forced the 2 Gu Dao treasures to retreat. The ancient undead spirit relied on its absolute strength to force Yi Chunfeng and the others back. The terrifying stone tortoise also shattered the god-shocking fist and injured the spiritual fish in the form of a divine ape, causing it to spit out a large amount of blood. "Spiritual fish, come back!" Yi Chunfeng felt that the spiritual fish was heavily injured and was afraid that something would happen to her. He immediately sent her into the universe realm. Roar! The ancient undead spirit that was filled with murderous intent roared continuously. It waved its halberd and sealed off Yi Chunfeng and the others' escape route, forcing them bit by bit towards the ferocious stone tortoise. Roar! The stone tortoise's blood-red eyes locked onto Yi Chunfeng and the others. Its huge body turned once again and rammed towards Yi Chunfeng and the others, wanting to crush them to death. On the verge of death, Yi Chunfeng knew that he was no match for the stone tortoise. His expression changed slightly. He wanted to send the King of Massacre and Xia Wendi into the universe realm to hide. Suddenly, a power that made Yi Chunfeng feel suffocated exploded from Xia Wendi's body. This power was so strong that it was like a boundless ocean, unshakable. Kacha! The silver mask made of a special material shattered, and the black robe that covered Xia Dai's body was also reduced to dust, revealing her beautiful body that was wrapped in a black inner armor and had a perfect golden ratio. In the face of death, Xia Wendi exposed her greatest secret. She activated her strongest physique and used a power that surpassed the limits of the Xingluo continent. Tao of Death Diagram. Xia Wendi endured the pain of her meridians breaking inch by inch. She controlled the hundreds of death Tao patterns that gushed out and condensed them into a terrifying Tao of Death diagram. She then attacked the stone tortoise that was twisting the void and crashing over like a mountain. Boom! The Tao of Death diagram and the stone tortoise collided. Boundless energy spilled out. The terrifying Tao of Death diagram directly sent the stone tortoise that had erupted with a force of close to 100 million jin flying. It crashed into the stone forest that it had just crushed, creating a huge hole in the ground. After controlling the Tao of Death diagram to send the stone tortoise flying, Xia Wendi's body released a star Tao diagram. It was like a star that had fallen into the mortal world. It interweaved with dazzling star patterns and blasted towards the ancient dead spirit. Sensing the terror of the star Tao diagram, the ancient dead spirit circulated all the energy in his body to meet the attack. When he used the halberd to strike the star Tao diagram, the terrifying star patterns twisted the void and blasted towards his spirit body. In an instant, the ancient dead spirit's body was riddled with holes by the star patterns. He let out a painful howl and turned around to escape. Just as Xia Wendi endured the tearing pain and wanted to chase after the ancient dead spirit, the tortoise shell cracked. The stone tortoise with blood-red eyes rushed over and opened its bloody mouth to bite at Xia Wendi. Courting death. Xia Wendi's eyes were bloodshot. She controlled the star Tao diagram and the Tao of Death diagram to ferociously attack the Class 9 heaven beast, stone tortoise. Under the destructive attacks of the two Tao diagrams, the stone tortoise's shell that was tougher than a mid-grade Tao artifact was constantly shattered. Its massive body was riddled with holes by the two Tao diagrams. Blood gushed out like a fountain and dyed the ground red. When Xia Wendi used her mysterious power to kill the Class 9 heaven beast, the stone tortoise, Yi Chunfeng controlled the sword Tao pattern and cut open the fertile black soil around the 11 life spirit herbs. He then transplanted the life spirit herbs into the universe mirror. Roar! The stone tortoise let out a roar of despair. Its bloody body was torn apart by the two Tao diagrams controlled by Xia Wendi. It fell into a pool of blood and died on the spot. After killing the Class 9 heaven beast, the stone tortoise, the mysterious power that awakened in Xia Wendi's body quickly dissipated. The two Tao diagrams were also shattered. PFFF. Fresh blood spurted out from her mouth. When the mysterious power disappeared, Xia Wendi's eyes turned black. She fell onto the blood-soaked ground and fainted. Remember the website address. Sanwa Chinese Network. Chapter 865. Where am I? After an unknown amount of time, Xia Wendi slowly opened her eyes. She asked weakly as she looked at her surroundings, which were as foreign as a fairyland, and Yi Chunfeng, who was guarding her. We are in a very safe place. Yi Chunfeng looked at Xia Wendi, who was hiding a shocking secret, and gave him a great shock. He said softly, "Your injuries are very serious now. All the meridians in your body are broken. Can you still use the mysterious power in your body to connect your broken meridians? If you can't, I will try using the life spirit grass to heal your injuries. No need to waste the life spirit grass. I have a way to connect my broken meridians." Xia Wendi's face was pale and somewhat sinister. She shook her head and said, "However, after using that power, My body's potential has been completely overdrawn. When I pluck the Death Mandara, I will not be able to use it. Leave the matter of plucking the Death Mandara to me. As long as there is one here, I will definitely pluck it for you. Yi Chunfeng promised softly. Yi Chunfeng, although the power of your saint artifact is terrifying, your strength is too low. You cannot unleash the full power of the saint artifact. The guardian of the Death Mandara is definitely not weaker than the stone tortoise. With your strength, it is impossible to succeed. Xia Wendy said weakly. How would I know if I don't try? Yi Chunfeng still has a fruit of life on him. At the critical moment, he can still use the life spirit technique to save the situation. That's right, Xia Wendy. Do you have any heavenly crystals on you? Yi Chunfeng asked. Why? Xia Wendy said weakly. If you have heavenly crystals, then the chances of us plucking the Death Mandara will be greatly increased. Yi Chunfeng did not hide anything and told her the secret of the sword puppet. I didn't expect you to have so many trump cards. Xia Wendy forced herself to sit up. She took out 10 low-grade heavenly crystals from her universe ring and said, I only have these low-grade heavenly crystals on me. Is it enough? It's enough. Looking at the low-grade heavenly crystals that Xia Wendy had passed to him, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. After fusing with 10 low-grade heavenly crystals, in addition to the high-grade soul crystals that he already had, the sword puppet would be able to wield the power of a level 6 beast emperor for a short period of time, enough to kill level 9 heavenly beasts. Alright, Xia Wendy, you stay here and heal your wounds. I'll go out and help you find the Death Datura. Yi Chunfeng didn't ask too much about the secrets on Xia Wendy's body. He gave the remaining half of his life spirit to her, and left the universe realm alone, returning to the ancient medicinal garden. Without Xia-patterned butterfly leading the way, Yi Chunfeng could only rely on the God-Eater brain. Fortunately, the God-Eater brain was heaven-defying enough. Under its meticulous deductions, Yi Chunfeng carefully entered the ancient herb garden in search of ancient spirit herbs. Yes, there's someone. Yi Chunfeng slowly advanced a few miles in between the layers of restrictions. His powerful soul spirit sensed 3 powerful auras in front of him. 2 of the auras gave him a familiar feeling. The black and white demon envoys. I never thought I would meet them here. After sensing for a moment, Yi Chunfeng suddenly realized that these 2 familiar auras were released by the black and white demon envoys that he had once fought with. He revealed a look of surprise. He restrained his aura and slowly approached. Second Elder, do you need our help? The black and white demon envoys stood behind a withered old man with yellow hair and a withered body that didn't seem to have any flesh or blood on it. They looked at the withered old man controlling an ancient array diagram to break through the ancient barrier and asked, No need. At most I'll need an hour to tear through this ancient barrier. The withered old man said in a deep voice. His eyes were closed as he constantly controlled the ancient array diagram to break through the barrier. As he became increasingly skilled in breaking through the barrier, the ancient array diagram's light became increasingly strong, constantly breaking through the ancient barrier. Open! The withered old man shouted out loud. The ancient array diagram emitted an endless light that forcefully tore open a gap in the ancient barrier. Come, let's go in. After forcefully ripping open the ancient barrier, the withered old man and the other 2 immediately entered. They began to pick up the ancient spirit herbs growing within. Roar! 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 Not long after the black and white demon envoys entered the ancient barrier, deafening dragon roars rang out. Endless storms formed within the ancient barrier, causing space to change. Dragon roars! Could it be that the blood dragon ginseng is growing within this ancient barrier? Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows. The power of the God-Eater brain immediately radiated towards the ancient barrier. After an amplification of tens of thousands of times per second, it forcefully seeped into the barrier to investigate. As expected, the blood dragon ginseng is growing within this ancient barrier. Feeling the aura of the blood dragon ginseng within the ancient barrier, Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed. However, he didn't act rashly. He hid outside the ancient barrier, patiently waiting for the black and white demon envoys to kill the guardian of the blood dragon ginseng, an extremely terrifying flood dragon. The fierce battle became more and more intense. The skinny old man and the black and white demon emissaries joined forces. With the help of powerful Taoist treasures, they gradually suppressed the flood dragon that had guarded the blood dragon ginseng for countless years and was only a step away from becoming a level 9 heavenly beast. However, the flood dragon that guarded the blood dragon ginseng had a thin true dragon bloodline flowing through its body. It was extremely powerful, causing no small amount of trouble for the black and white demon envoys. Ghost Killing Array Diagram. 10,000 ghosts burn. The withered old man fiercely slapped his chest, spitting out a large amount of blood that fused into an array diagram that had a ghost face on it. Suddenly, a large number of ferocious ghost faces emerged from the ghost-killing array diagram, emitting hair-raising cries of ghosts as they bit towards the scarred flood dragon. Black demon seal, white demon seal, kill. As the flood dragon was swallowed up by a large number of ferocious ghost faces, the black and white demon envoys also took out their 2 Dao treasures to attack the flood dragon. The black and white demon seals that carried with them a destructive power were like 2 mountains, ruthlessly suppressing the flood dragon's body that was constantly being bitten by the ghost faces. They smashed through its body and pressed its huge body to the ground, causing it to wildly spew out blood. Kill the dragon head. Take this opportunity to kill it. The withered old man roared. A large number of killing array patterns emerged from his body, rushing towards the flood dragon's head like a surging tide. The black and white demon envoys held their black and white swords and attacked at the same time. Under the black and white demon envoys' relentless attacks, the flood dragon's head, which was suppressed by the 3 Dao treasures, was constantly injured and dripping with blood. In the end, the flood dragon, which was close to the 6th level combat beast emperor realm, had its head smashed by the black and white demon envoys. A large amount of blood crazily spurted out on the ground as it died. The 3 of you have worked hard. The 3 of them had just killed the flood dragon. Before they could even take a breath, 2 figures appeared at the crack of the restriction. Yi Chunfeng, who was controlling the illusion Dao patterns to disguise himself, walked side by side with the sword puppet, who had fused with enough energy and recovered to the 6th level combat beast emperor realm. It was bathed in black light and its true appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Seeing Yi Chunfeng and the sword puppet appear, the black and white demon envoy's pupils shrank. They immediately burst forth with full speed to grab the blood dragon ginseng, which was like a blood dragon. Half of its head was exposed outside the soil and contained powerful spirituality. However, the sword puppet, who was bathed in black light, was even faster. It quickly approached the 3 of them and constantly slashed with the Emperor's Sky Sword. Streaks of shocking sword light that tore through the void slashed towards the 3 of them, sealing the space in front of them. The astonishing attacks forced the 3 of them to retreat. Not bad, not bad. A blood dragon ginseng that is over 200,000 years old. I will not be polite and kindly accept it. Yi Chunfeng stepped on lightning and appeared beside the blood dragon ginseng. He released the sword Dao patterns to cut open the fertile soil around the blood dragon ginseng. Under the fiery gazes of the black and white demon envoys, he kept the blood dragon ginseng along with the soil into the universe mirror. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 866. Hand over the blood dragon ginseng, or else I will definitely turn you into ashes. The skinny old man quickly consumed a pseudo-Dao pill to recover his exhausted soul energy. He glared at Yi Chunfeng and said in a sinister voice, Seeing the blood dragon ginseng being taken away by Yi Chunfeng, the skinny old man was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. "Haha, with just the three of you?" Yi Chunfeng laughed and said disdainfully, "I advise you to think about your own situation first. Whether you can leave this place alive, then think about other things. If I'm not wrong, you are from Xingluo Heaven City, right?" The black demon envoy, who was wearing a black robe and had dark skin, looked at Yi Chunfeng and the second elder, and said in a low voice, "So what if we are? Don't tell me you want to take revenge on my Xingluo Heaven City?" Yi Chunfeng snorted and said deliberately, "We are from the True Demon's tribe. I has a good relationship with your city lord, Sha Bingyun, and my True Demon's tribe has a cooperative relationship with your Xingluo Heaven City. So I advise you to return the blood dragon ginseng to us. Don't break our relationship because of an ancient spiritual herb." The second elder reported his identity and used Sha Bingyun to pressure Yi Chunfeng. "What is the True Demon's tribe? Why haven't I heard of it before?" Yi Chunfeng sneered and said without any trace of politeness, "And do you think I will believe your nonsense? Look, what is this?" The skinny old man, whose face was ashen and eyes spitting fire, took out a Xingluo Heaven token from his yin and yang ring and showed it to Yi Chunfeng. "How dare you kill the experts of my Xingluo Heaven City and use the Xingluo Heaven token to confuse me? Today, I will kill you with my own hands to avenge the dead experts of Xingluo Heaven City." Looking at the Xingluo Heaven token in the skinny old man's hand, Yi Chunfeng's expression changed, and he shouted with killing intent, "Motherf asterisk Ker, wait till I see Sha Bingyun. You'll get it." When the three old men saw that Yi Chunfeng didn't believe them at all, they were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. However, the threat of the sword puppet bathed in the black light was too great, so they didn't dare to casually attack and wanted to leave. "Let's go. You killed my Xingluo Sky City's experts, and you still want to leave?" Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up. He issued a kill order. "Sword puppet, kill the black and white demon envoys with all your strength." Buzz. Upon receiving Yi Chunfeng's order, a powerful killing intent erupted from the sword puppet's body. The killing intent was so strong that it caused the world to change color. The spiritual energy that filled the ancient restriction was riddled with holes by this killing intent. "This person is a level 6 beast emperor, let's leave this place first." Feeling the killing intent of the sword puppet, the black and white demon envoys felt as if they were being stared at by the Grim Reaper. All the hair on their bodies stood on end. They didn't dare to continue fighting and wanted to leave quickly. However, the sword puppet, which had fused with 10 low-grade heaven crystals and a large number of top-grade soul crystals, was too fast. It intercepted them in a split second. The black and white demon envoys, who were holding the Emperor's gate, launched a fierce attack. Black demon seal, white demon seal. When the sword puppet attacked, the black and white demon envoys didn't hesitate to control their respective Tao treasures to smash at the sword puppet. They wanted to rely on the power of their Tao treasures to force it back. Facing the attacks of the two demon seals, the sword puppet didn't dodge. Relying on its indestructible body, it took the attacks of the two demon seals head-on. At the same time, it slashed out its sword at the two without any fancy move. The sharp ships streaked across the space, swallowing all the light. It was as if these ships had become the only thing in the world, bringing a strong threat of death to the black and white demon envoys, forcing them to dodge in panic. Seeing that the black and white demon envoys had the upper hand, the skinny old man wanted to control the ghost-killing array to help. However, at this moment, an ear-piercing sound broke through the air. Yi Chunfeng approached him with lightning under his feet. Like a blazing sun, he erupted with 30 million Jin of force and crashed into the skinny old man. Boom! Yi Chunfeng's fists, which were intertwined with power and Tao intent, fiercely punched the ghost-killing array. The Tao intent crazily attacked the ghost-killing array like a tide, making the skinny old man unable to help the black and white demon envoys. "You're courting death." The skinny old man didn't expect that Yi Chunfeng, who was only a grade 2 beast emperor, would dare to attack him. He immediately controlled the ghost-killing array to interweave a large number of array patterns, strangling them towards Yi Chunfeng, wanting to kill him. 100 killing array, seal the void. As the skinny old man approached, the top-grade array cornerstone and 500 array flags flew out of Yi Chunfeng's body, enveloping an area of 1 mile. With a loud sound, they formed the 100 killing array, enveloping him and the skinny old man. What? You want to use an array to kill I? Being trapped in the 100 killing array, the skinny old man, who had high attainments in array formations, didn't panic. Hundreds of array flags also appeared from his skinny body, forming an offensive array, attacking the 100 killing array. Boom, boom, boom. The two offensive arrays bombarded each other, forming a thunderous explosion, shaking the space. Endless array patterns violently collided with each other like a tide, constantly destroying the space. Yi Chunfeng and the skinny old man were facing each other head-on. The indestructible sword puppet had an overwhelming advantage, suppressing the black and white demon envoy's attack. So it's him. When the black and white demon envoys controlled the black and white demon feather to envelop the sword puppet's black light, they saw his true face. Their eyes widened as they let out a cry of surprise. They didn't expect to meet Yi Chunfeng here. They suspected that Kong Sungchen, Bai Feng, and the others had also come. Don't fight. We need to break out with all our strength. Unable to resist the sword puppet's ferocious attacks, the black demon envoys decisively sent a sound transmission. If we leave, what will happen to the second elder? The black and white demon envoys asked. In our situation, we can no longer take care of the second elder. Right now, we can only pray that he can rely on his strength to escape. After saying this, the black and white demon envoys simultaneously struck out with black and white demonic seals, releasing endless demonic light that bombarded the sword puppet. By relying on the might of the two great Tao treasures, they were able to resist the sword puppet's onslaught of world-shaking ores. Blood escape. A thick mist of blood erupted from the black and white demon envoys' bodies. They didn't hesitate to damage their bodies and burn a great deal of their blood vitality, turning into two beams of bloody light that fled from the ancient spell. The black and white demon envoys used blood escape to escape. The sword puppet immediately tried to stop them, but the speed at which they used blood escape was too fast. The sword puppet flew out of the spell's crack and escaped. Sword puppet, don't chase after them. Guard the spell, don't let them escape. Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul sensed that the black and white demon envoys had escaped from the ancient spell. He didn't have the sword puppet chase after them, but instead had it guard the spell's crack, blocking off the old man's path of retreat. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng eliminated all distracting thoughts. He fully controlled the 100 killing array to attack the old man's killing array. While using the array to defend the array, he controlled the God-Eater brain to comprehend the old man's comprehensions of array formations. As the battle progressed, a massive number of array flags turned to ash. The two of them were completely immersed in the evolution of the array formation, precisely controlling their own array formations as they fiercely bombarded each other. Array flags shattered one after another. The power of the array formation constantly fell. A terrifying array might constantly batter the two of them, damaging their bodies. But Yi Chunfeng's body was comparable to a low-grade Tao artifact. Although the destructive array didn't cause much damage to his body, it caused enormous damage to the old man. The old man's top-grade heaven artifact battle armor was completely deformed. Seeing that his body could not hold on any longer, the skinny old man took a deep breath. His eyes were filled with determination as he detonated the remaining 100 or so formation flags. They interweaved with each other to form a formation pattern that charged towards Yi Chunfeng like a tidal wave. Tens of thousands of array runes attacked. Yi Chunfeng also detonated the array flags, launching the most fatal attack. Endless array runes fiercely repelled each other. As the array runes released by Yi Chunfeng were about to collapse, the sword's soul flew out under the control of Yi Chunfeng's thoughts. It fused together with 80 sword Dao patterns and tore through the dense array runes, piercing towards the old man who was too heavily injured to dodge. Chi. Blood splashed out as the unstoppable sword's soul pierced through the old man's head, twisting his soul to shreds. Finally, the old man won the battle of array formations, but he lost his life. Remember URL. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 867. Phew, I didn't expect this person's attainments in formations to be so deep. If it weren't for the fact that I'm far superior to him, I would have already lost in this battle of formations. Looking at the skinny old man whose head had been pierced by the sword spirit and who was lying in a pool of blood, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but admire his attainments in formations. After competing with him in formations, Yi Chunfeng had benefited greatly. After taking away the skinny old man's Dao treasure, the ghost-killing formation diagram, and the universe ring, Yi Chunfeng buried him. Then, he went to the huge corpse of the flood dragon and stored it in the universe mirror. After successfully plucking the blood dragon ginseng, Yi Chunfeng didn't immediately leave. Instead, he went to the back of the ancient formation. In the nest of the flood dragon, he found a small pool of spirit milk that emitted dense spirit chi. This 10,000-year spirit milk has probably existed for over 200,000 years. Looking at the 10,000-year spirit milk that the flood dragon had kept for many years, Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed. He immediately took out 2 universe bottles and stored it. However, he only took away half of the 10,000-year spirit milk, which was worth nearly 50 kilograms of great Dao pills. He was prepared to leave the rest for Xia Wendy, who was hiding her secrets and was heavily injured in order to save everyone. Xia Wendy, I found some 10,000-year spirit milk that is over 200,000 years old in an ancient formation. It should be helpful for you to recover from your injuries and connect your broken meridians. Yi Chunfeng said softly as he entered the universe mirror and looked at Xia Wendy, who was curled up in pain, hovering between life and death as she used a mysterious energy to slowly connect her broken meridians. 10,000-year spirit milk. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, the pale Xia Wendy's beautiful big eyes revealed a look of pleasant surprise. She weakly said, "Quickly bring me to that place. I want to absorb the 10,000-year spirit milk to heal my injuries." "Okay." Yi Chunfeng nodded. Ignoring Xia Wendy's opposition, he picked her up by the waist and left the universe mirror, arriving beside the 10,000-year spirit milk. "It's really over 200,000 years old myriad-year spiritual milk. I'm saved now," Xia Wendy excitedly said. "Yi Chunfeng, in order to better absorb this 10,000-year spirit milk, I have to take off my clothes to heal my wounds. So when I'm healing, you're not allowed to come over, and you're not allowed to peek. Otherwise, when I'm healed, I'll definitely dig out your eyes." "Don't worry. Even if you want me to, I won't." Yi Chunfeng curled his lips. Under Xia Wendy's fiery gaze, he turned around and left. "Despicable fellow. Just wait until I recover from my injuries. I'll definitely tear your mouth apart. That'll teach you how to make me angry all the time." Xia Wendy was so angry that her liver hurt. She cursed in her heart. Walking far away, Yi Chunfeng arrived at the edge of the ancient seal and ordered the sword puppet to guard the crack. He took out the yin-yang ring left behind by the withered old man and used the power of the God-Eater brain to break open the seal. He released his soul power into the ring. As expected, there is an ancient spirit fruit over 200,000 years old in his yin-yang ring. Yi Chunfeng found a blood-red blood fruit that was more than 200,000 years old. It contained a powerful bloodline power and was a blood fruit. In addition to this blood fruit, Yi Chunfeng also found 2 precious Grand Dao pills, more than 10 pseudo-Dao pills, many heaven-rank soul pills, an outline of an array formation, more than 10 heaven-rank spirit grasses, several top-grade refining stones, and a large amount of soul crystals. Yi Chenfeng gave the 2 Grand Dao pills to the King of Slaughter and Fu Qingshan respectively. He also gave the essence blood refined from the stone turtle's heart to the space devourer bug. Then, he quietly adjusted his breathing and adjusted his body's condition. When his body was at its peak, he swallowed the blood fruit full of powerful bloodline power. He controlled the God-Eater brain to refine it and raise the quality of his demonic god bloodline. Days passed. After nearly 5 days of refining and fusing, Yi Chenfeng completely refined the blood fruit that was over 200,000 years old and fused it into his demonic god bloodline, raising his demonic god bloodline to the 3rd grade. Once it was ignited, it could instantly increase his strength by 3 times. His strength also increased slightly. The space devourer bug devoured the essence blood refined from the stone turtle's heart and successfully transformed into a level 8 heavenly beast. The King of Slaughter refined the Grand Dao pill and reached the limit of his realm. He started to break through to the 4th grade Beast Emperor realm. The spiritual fish that refined the Aquatic Flower King and Fu Qingshan that refined the Grand Dao pill were also steadily increasing their strength. Just as Yi Chenfeng and the rest's strength increased to different degrees, a painful sound of blood spurting suddenly rang out, breaking the silence. Something happened to Xiao Wendy. Feeling that Xiao Wendy's life force was rapidly fading away, Yi Chenfeng was shocked. He immediately flew over to check what happened. When he arrived at the Jiao Dragon's nest, he saw that Xiao Wendy was lying naked in a puddle of water with blood flowing out of her mouth, unconscious. Although Xiao Wendi's beautiful face was ruined by the centipede scar, making her look somewhat sinister, her delicate body was flawless. Her sexy collarbone and delicate shoulders were extremely alluring. This was especially so for her chest, which was not very big, but very tall and straight. They were completely exposed to the air, and her slightly curved snow-white legs were silently impacting Yi Chenfeng's heart. However, Yi Chenfeng did not have time to admire the beautiful scenery in front of him. He quickly came to Xiao Wendy's side and carried her smooth body. He was about to take out a stalk of life spirit grass to feed her to save her life. But at that moment, Yi Chenfeng was surprised to discover that the life force in Xiao Dai's body that was rapidly fading away was rapidly recovering. And as her life force was recovering, the broken meridians in her body were also healing at an extremely fast speed. Just as Yi Chenfeng was surprised by the changes in Xiao Wendy's body, the unconscious Xiao Wendy suddenly opened her eyes. In the next moment, the 2 people's eyes met. A scream that almost pierced Yi Chenfeng's eardrums came from Xiao Wendy's mouth. "You scoundrel, what are you doing? I'll kill you!" Xiao Wendy found that Yi Chenfeng was tightly holding her naked body and immediately misunderstood. She let out an uncontrollable roar and screamed, "This is a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding!" Feeling the evil aura emitted by Xiao Wendy, Yi Chenfeng was so scared that he quickly let go of her smooth body and used his sword steps to dodge. "It's a misunderstanding. You've already seen what you should have seen and touched what you should have touched. You still dare to say it's a misunderstanding?" Xiao Wendy roared in exasperation. "I'll kill you, you despicable and shameless villain! I admit that I saw your body, but I didn't touch it." Yi Chenfeng dodged while explaining, "Don't wrongly accuse a good person, I really didn't touch it." "Wrongly accuse a good person?" Xiao Wendy angrily said. "I caught you red-handed and you still dare to quibble and call yourself a good person. I'll kill you." "Just now when the life force in your body was fading, I thought your life was in danger, so I hurried over to use the life spirit grass to save you. Who knew that your body was so strange?" Yi Chenfeng constantly explained, "If you had told me the secret of your body earlier, I wouldn't have offended you. Moreover, I'm not interested in your body, so why would I touch it?" Yi Chenfeng looked at Xiao Wendy's exposed chest and said, Seeing Yi Chenfeng's eyes, the angry Xiao Wendy suddenly remembered that she wasn't wearing any clothes. She once again let out a scream and quickly put on her clothes to cover her flawless body. Like an enraged little wildcat, she once again pounced on Yi Chunfeng. In the end, Yi Chunfeng was hit 18 times by the angry Xia Wendy and kicked more than 20 times. He had to explain again and again before she finally calmed down. Xia Wendy, are you worried that I'll rush to take responsibility for seeing your body? Yi Chunfeng looked at the panting and flushed Xia Wendy and said softly, actually you don't have to worry, I won't take responsibility. Get lost, P.S. I'll post a picture of Xia Wendy on Saturday. If you want to see it, please add me on WeChat, YLTY83. You can see the great beauty Xia Wendy on Saturday. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. Next time you open the bookshelf, you can see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 868. In the mist, the ancient herb garden was silent. It was so quiet that it made people feel uneasy. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy, who was wearing a dark face and not saying a word, walked through the layers of restrictive spells for about a day. After spending a lot of effort, they climbed up a mountain that was not high but had a very complicated terrain. It was full of terrifying restrictive spells. After climbing up the mountain, Yi Chunfeng found that this bare mountain was shrouded in extremely terrifying layers of restrictive spells. The God-eating brain, which was deducing at a high speed, took about half an hour to penetrate the layers of restrictive spells. It sensed the waves of Tao will in the layers of restrictive spells. There is something strange in the restrictive spells on this mountain. There might be something we didn't expect. Yi Chunfeng frowned as he looked at the ancient restrictive spells not far away and said softly, "You don't have to say that. Do you think I don't know that there is something in the restrictive spells?" Xia Wendy rolled her eyes at Yi Chunfeng and said coldly. Obviously, she was still holding a grudge about what happened yesterday. "I will let the space swallower devour and break open the layers of restrictive spells. Let's see what is hidden inside." Although the restrictive spells in front of them were very powerful, their attack power was not strong. Yi Chunfeng summoned the newly evolved Space Swallower and ordered it to devour the restrictive spells. Buzz buzz buzz. When the Space Swallower devoured the restrictive spells, the layers of ancient restrictive spells reflected a large amount of restrictive spells and attacked the Space Swallower. However, after evolving into a level 8 heavenly beast, the Space Swallower's defense was greatly improved. It resisted the attack of the restrictive spells and quickly devoured the restrictive spells. "Yi Chunfeng, I like this Space Swallower that you tamed. If you give it to me, I will forgive you for violating me." Xia Wendy looked at the Space Swallower devouring the restrictive spells and said lightly, "No way." Yi Chunfeng refused without hesitation. You despicable and shameless villain. Do you want to pull up your pants and deny it?" Xia Wendy said angrily. Hey Xia Wendy, don't spout nonsense. What do you mean by pulling up your pants and not admitting it? Do you even know how to make an analogy? What did I do? Yi Chunfeng opened his mouth wide. Looking at the angry Xia Wendy, he loudly shouted, "I was saving you, I wasn't going to violate you. In any case, I've suffered a great loss. You must compensate me, or else I won't let you off." Xia Wendy coldly snorted and said without giving up, "Madam, can I compensate you with the death datura?" Yi Chunfeng was speechless and said with a bitter smile, "Fine, if you can help me pick the death datura, then I'll forget about it. If you can't, then you have to compensate me with this Space Swallower bug." Xia Wendy clenched her teeth and said, "Sigh." Yi Chunfeng sighed helplessly in his heart. He did not waste any more time and patiently waited for the space-swallowing bugs to devour the layers of restrictions. After about a day or so, the space swallower insect spared no effort in devouring. Finally, the space swallower insect devoured a large hole in the multiple layers of restrictions. "Let's go." Without hesitation, Yi Chunfeng and Li Wuyo passed through the gap in the restriction, which was as tall as a person, and entered the ancient restriction. Path understanding tree, there's a path understanding tree growing here. Looking at the 5-meter-tall tree growing in the center of the ancient restriction, its trunk and branches were covered in ancient runes. There was not a single leaf on it, and it emitted a dense aura of death. Xia Wendy's eyes widened, revealing a look of pleasant surprise. Path understanding tree, this is the legendary path understanding tree. The God-eating brain also had information about the path understanding tree. It was said that the path understanding tree was nurtured by the runes of heaven and earth for millions or even tens of millions of years. Every branch and leaf contained the principles of the great Tao. Even in the heaven domain, it was the most precious treasure, far more valuable than a saint item. It was enough to cause all the almighty figures in the heaven domain to fight over it. Yes, this tree is definitely the path understanding tree, but there is not a trace of life in it. It should have withered a long time ago. Xia Wendy nodded and said, although this path understanding tree is dead, it still left behind many principles of the great Tao. Its value is also immeasurable. Yi Chunfeng looked at the runes of the great Tao left behind on the path understanding tree and felt that these runes resonated with the Tao that he had comprehended. Yi Chunfeng, I want this path understanding tree. Xia Wendy said without any trace of politeness. Why? It was my space-swallowing bug that pierced through the ancient restriction. Also, didn't you say that apart from the death datura, you didn't want any of the other ancient spirit herbs in the ancient herb garden? Although this path understanding tree had withered for many years, its value was extremely high. If Yi Chunfeng could obtain it, he would be able to raise the Tao that he had comprehended to an even higher level. This is compensation. Compensation for the heinous crimes you committed against me. Xia Wendy coldly snorted. No, I can't give this path understanding tree to you. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said resolutely. Fine, then let's have a competition of Tao. Whoever wins gets this path understanding tree. Xia Wendy ground her teeth and suggested aggressively. Okay, that's fair. Yi Chunfeng was very confident in his comprehension of Tao. He was completely confident that he could suppress Xia Wendy, so he nodded and agreed without hesitation. Yi Chunfeng, today I will make you accept your defeat wholeheartedly. As she spoke, endless starlight poured out from Xia Wendy's body and converged into a huge star, illuminating the entire space as if it was daytime. Star Tao Insight, 9 Heavens. As he looked at the star Tao markings that gushed out from Xia Wendy's body, Yi Chunfeng's eyes stared wide open as he revealed dense astonishment. Never had he imagined that Xia Wendy's comprehension of Tao insights would be so deep, and even he was utterly inferior to her. Yi Chunfeng, it's not too late to admit defeat now. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's shocked expression, Xia Wendy said proudly. You're still far from being able to defeat me. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath as the 5 Tao insights, life and death Tao insights, and heaven and earth Tao insights gushed out from his body and converged above him to form a surging river of Tao insights that surged and roared. 3 fused Tao insights. Yi Chunfeng, you really have some ability. Seeing Yi Chunfeng release 3 fused Tao insights that had attained the 6th level, Xia Wendy revealed a trace of astonishment. With a command of her will, the star that was fused with 90 star Tao patterns tore through the sky to collide with Yi Chunfeng, and it collided with the 3 fused Tao insights that Yi Chunfeng controlled. Bang! 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 Boundless Tao insights bloomed in midair as surging Tao insights collided together to form boundless loud bangs and gales that twisted the space around them. Even though the 3 fused Tao insights that Yi Chunfeng had comprehended were strong, Xia Wendy's comprehension of Tao insights was even deeper. The terrifying star Tao insight rode the wind and broke through the waves as it ceaselessly tore apart the river of Tao insights, causing Yi Chunfeng to endure enormous pressure. Sword Tao Insight. Just as the river of Tao insights was about to be torn apart, 80 sword Dao patterns gushed out from Yi Qinfeng's body and transformed into a Dao Insight sword. It slashed towards the Dao Insight star with irresistible force and blocked the attack of the star Dao Insight. I would like to see how long you can last. The corner of Xia Wendy's mouth curled up slightly as 90 Death Dao patterns gushed out from her body. 9 levels of Star Dao Insight and 9 levels of Death Dao pattern. How old is she? How can her comprehension of Dao Insights be so deep? Yi Qinfeng looked at Xia Wendy's comprehension of the Death Dao Insight, and his expression instantly changed. Just as Yi Qinfeng was about to use the Heaven Dao pattern to resist, a powerful soul energy suddenly pervaded out from the Path Understanding tree, causing the withered Path Understanding tree to emit a rustling sound. In the next moment, a powerful and aged soul emerged from the Path Understanding tree and interrupted the battle of Dao Insights between the two. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 869. You two juniors have some guts, daring to fight here and disturb my slumber. Do you believe that I won't suppress you two? The old soul said angrily as he glared at Yi Qinfeng and Shao Chen, who had retreated far away, as if they were facing a great enemy. Senior is the guardian of this Path Understanding tree? Xia Dai felt that the old soul was very scary and posed a great danger to them. She dispersed the two Dao intents and asked softly, "That's right. I am the guardian of this Path Understanding tree." The old soul said in a deep voice, "Before I get angry, you two juniors had better leave quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me for suppressing you here forever. Senior, I want the Path Understanding tree. Can you give it to me?" Xia Dai asked loudly as if she didn't hear the old soul's warning. "Junior, do you really think I won't dare to suppress you?" Hearing Xia Dai's request, the old soul was enraged. A powerful soul energy was released from his soul body, forming a large hand that twisted space. "Senior, if I say that I am a descendant of the Star Emperor, I wonder if you would be willing to give me the Path Understanding tree?" Xia Wendy glanced at Yi Qinfeng from the corner of her eyes and revealed the mystery of her origins. You are a descendant of the Star Emperor?" As soon as Xia Dai's voice fell, the old soul let out a surprised sound. The terrifying soul energy released by his soul body disappeared. As for Yi Qinfeng, he revealed a faint smile. He had already guessed Xia Wendy's identity. "Yes, I am a descendant of the Star Emperor's main bloodline." Xia Dai nodded and said, "What proof do you have of your identity?" The old soul's murky eyes stared at Xia Wendy's scarred face and asked in a low voice. Xia Wendy's face was a little hideous. "My bloodline is the best proof." As she spoke, Xia Dai bit her finger and forced a drop of blood to float towards the old soul. "The bloodline of the Star Emperor. You really are a descendant of the Star Emperor's main bloodline." After identifying Xia Dai's blood, the old soul revealed an excited expression. "Senior, can you give this Path Understanding tree to me now? This dead Path Understanding tree is very important to me." Xia Wendy asked again. "Child, as the direct descendant of Star King, you should have this Path Understanding tree. However, this Path Understanding tree is suppressing the corpse of a powerful being from the Sky Clan. Without the Path Understanding tree, the ancient dead spirit in the ancient medicinal garden will most likely sense it and come to snatch it away. Once it takes the corpse and leaves the ancient medicinal garden, it will most likely bring a catastrophe to the Xingluo continent," the old soul said in a deep voice. "The corpse of a supreme being from the heavenly race." Yi Qinfeng's eyes narrowed. He felt that there was a great secret hidden in this ancient herb garden. "Senior, could it be that the ancient dead spirits in the garden were evolved from the souls of the heaven race's almighty experts?" Xia Dai revealed a hint of shock and asked, "Just how did he die?" Child, I can only tell you the secret of this place to one person. Come here. The old soul glanced at Yi Chunfeng and called Xia Dai to his side. He communicated with her through their souls and told her many secrets of the past. Seeing the old soul communicate with Xia Dai, Yi Chunfeng guessed that the old soul didn't believe him. However, he didn't mind. He walked to the dead path understanding tree and sat down beside it. He controlled the God-Eater brain to release soul power into the path understanding tree to deduce the laws of the grand Tao contained within and deepen his understanding of the Tao. This is the corpse of a powerful being from the heaven race. When the God-Eater brain was deducing the grand Tao contained within the path understanding tree, it felt that the path understanding tree's roots were twisted and twisted. The long withered roots had pierced into a withered corpse that didn't have a trace of life but was extremely hard and contained a powerful Tao. And at the heart of this corpse there was a Tao spirit that contained a powerful Tao. Heavenly Tao, the Tao spirit of a powerful being from the heaven race, actually contains the heavenly Tao laws. When the God-Eater brain released soul power that was amplified tens of thousands of times per second and forcibly seeped into the Tao spirit, it felt that the Tao spirit of a powerful being from the heaven race contained the heavenly Tao laws. Yi Chunfeng was well aware of the might of the heavenly Tao. If he could cultivate the heavenly Tao to a higher realm, then the heavenly Tao's ruthless attack power would greatly increase. And by borrowing the power of the heavenly Tao, he had a chance of breaking through Xia Dai's two great Tao intent. I must obtain the Tao spirit of a powerful being from the heaven race. Yi Chunfeng felt that this withered path understanding tree was not fated with him. However, compared to the path understanding tree, the Tao spirit of a powerful being from the heaven race was much more attractive and important to him. Just as Yi Chunfeng was controlling the God-Eater brain to speed up its deduction and try to deduce the heavenly Tao laws contained within the Tao spirit, Xia Dai learned many secrets from the old soul. She had a deeper understanding of the origin of this ancient herb garden and also knew the location of the Death Datura. Senior, are you saying that if Junior can destroy the corpse and Tao spirit of a powerful being from the heaven race, then you can give this path understanding tree to me? Because of her physique, this path understanding tree was very important to Xia Dai. She couldn't part with it. That's right. The old soul nodded and said, however, the corpse of a powerful being from the heaven race is as hard as a saint treasure, and the Tao spirit is even stronger. Back then, the Star Emperor used the Saint Treasure, the Star Moon Pearl, but he couldn't destroy the body and Tao spirit. And this path understanding tree also died from suppressing it, so with your strength, you can't destroy it. Then Senior, what if we have a spatial treasure? We can move the corpse into a spatial treasure and isolate it from the world, so that the ancient dead spirit can't fuse with it. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's universe mirror, Xia Dai asked. Spatial treasure, you have a spatial treasure? The old soul said in shock. Treasures like spatial treasures were rare even in the heaven realm, let alone those that could change their size and shape. I don't have a spatial treasure, but he does. Xia Dai pointed at Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting cross-legged beside the path understanding tree and controlling the God-Eater brain. Junior, is this person trustworthy? You should know that the corpse of a powerful being from the heaven realm is very precious. If it falls into the hands of someone with bad intentions, it could lead to a great change. The old soul said. He can be trusted. Although Xia Dai's understanding of Yi Chunfeng was limited, and her body had been seen by him, Xia Dai subconsciously felt that Yi Chunfeng was trustworthy. Moreover, Xia Dai was determined to get this path understanding tree, so she couldn't part with it. Alright, if he is trustworthy and you really have a spatial treasure that can take away the corpse of a powerful being from the heaven realm, then this dead path understanding tree will be yours. The old soul thought for a while and said, Senior, please wait a moment, I'll have him take away the corpse. After ending the conversation with the old soul, Xia Dai slowly walked to Yi Chunfeng's side and kicked Yi Chunfeng in an extremely unladylike manner, interrupting his enlightenment. She rudely said, "Quickly get up, I have something to discuss with you." "What is it?" Yi Chunfeng opened his eyes, looked at Xia Dai, and leisurely asked. "Help me take away the corpse of a powerful being from the path understanding tree into a spatial treasure, then your offense towards me will be written off." Xia Dai sent a message. Hearing Xia Dai's message, Yi Chunfeng smiled brightly like the sun and slowly said, "Beg me, mobile reading site. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click the save button at the bottom to record this reading. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support." Chapter 870. Yi Chunfeng, you don't know what's good for you. Do you know that the value of a supreme expert's corpse is not lower than the path understanding tree? Giving it to you is already letting you off easy. Moreover, I've already forgiven you for your heinous crimes. Seeing the naughty smile on Yi Chunfeng's face, Xia Wendy gritted her teeth in hatred and transmitted her voice to him. "Xia Wendy, is this how you ask for help?" Yi Chunfeng asked with a smile. Are you going to agree or not?" If she didn't need Yi Chunfeng's help, Xia Wendy would have bitten him a few times. "Xia Wendy, I'll make it clear first. I'm saving you, so don't be ungrateful. Also, I'm not interested in your skinny body, so don't think too highly of yourself. Finally, if you really want my help, it's not impossible, but you have to answer a few of my questions. Otherwise, there's no need to talk." Yi Chunfeng said, as if he had Xia Wendy in his grasp. Xia Wendy was about to vomit blood because of Yi Chunfeng. Especially Yi Chunfeng's description of her as a skinny body, she was so angry that her liver trembled. She almost couldn't hold back the anger in her heart. However, in order to obtain the path understanding tree, she took a few deep breaths and suppressed the anger in her heart. She transmitted her voice, "What do you want to know?" "I want to know the secret of this ancient herb garden. How did the supreme expert of the heaven race die, and how did his corpse appear here?" Yi Chunfeng transmitted his voice. "The two questions you asked are related to the great secret of my Star Emperor bloodline. Forgive me for not being able to answer you." Xia Wendy flatly refused. "Then forget it. I'll continue to comprehend the Tao. Before I comprehend the Tao patterns on this path understanding tree, don't disturb me." After speaking, Yi Chunfeng ignored Xia Wendy's angry gaze and closed his eyes again. He controlled the God-Eater brain to comprehend the Tao. One. Xia Wendy clenched her teeth and said, "I can answer your question, but you must swear that you will not reveal the secret of this place. Furthermore, you are not allowed to discuss conditions with me. If you know the secret of this ancient medicine garden, you must immediately take away the corpse of the supreme expert of the heaven domain and then help me pick the death datura. Deal." Yi Chunfeng opened his eyes, revealing a crafty expression as he said with a smile. More than 500,000 years ago, this place, including the ancient ruins outside, all belonged to the ancient Star Palace. This ancient medicinal garden was the medicinal garden that the ancestor of the Star Emperor spent a lot of time and effort to cultivate. Xia Wendy helplessly revealed the origins of the ancient medicinal garden to Yi Chunfeng. "This is the ruins of the ancient Star Palace." Yi Chunfeng said in shock. Then how was the ancient Star Palace destroyed? Could it be related to the supreme expert of the Tian clan? More than 500,000 years ago, the Xingluo continent had two superpowers. One of them was the ancient Star Palace that the ancestor of the Star Emperor established, and the other was the Xingluo Sky City. However, this Xingluo Sky City was established by the Tian clan in an attempt to destroy our human race's inheritance and control the entire Xingluo continent. In order to destroy the Tian clan's scheme, the ancestor of the Star Emperor personally took action and killed the supreme expert of the Tian clan guarding the Xingluo Sky City. He then brought his corpse back to the Star Palace. However, in the end, when the ancestor tore apart the supreme expert of the heaven domain and ascended to the heaven domain, he was ambushed by the supreme expert of the Tian clan and failed to ascend. The ancient star palace was eventually destroyed by the Xingluo Sky City and disappeared in the river of history. Xia Wendy revealed some ancient secrets to Yi Chenfeng. Xingluo Sky City was actually established by the Tian clan. After hearing this news, Yi Chenfeng's heart was unable to calm down for a long time. He didn't expect that not only was the central continent controlled by the foreign races, but even the Xingluo Sky City was controlled by them. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and calmed his shocked heart before asking, Xia Wendy, do you think there are any other supreme experts of the Tian clan in the Xingluo Sky City? You should ask the people of the Xingluo Sky City, not me. Xia Wendy rolled her eyes at Yi Chenfeng and said, I'm not from the Xingluo Sky City. Alright, since you're honest, I'll work a little harder and help you take away the corpse of the celestial race powerhouse. However, after I'm done, you have to lend me the Path Understanding Tree for a month. Yi Chenfeng made another request. Fine. Xia Wendy gritted her teeth and agreed. Senior, this friend of mine has agreed to use a spatial treasure to take away the supreme expert's corpse. After finally persuading Yi Chenfeng, Xia Wendy let out a sigh of relief and slowly said to the old soul, Senior, this junior actually has some connections with Senior Star Monarch. Senior doesn't need to worry too much. Seeing the old soul's serious expression, Yi Chenfeng knew that he didn't trust him, so he took out the hexagonal astrolabe given to him by Star Monarch's avatar. Star Monarch astrolabe, you actually have the token to open the Xingluo royal tomb. Without waiting for the old soul to speak, Xia Wendy revealed a shocked expression and looked at Yi Chenfeng with a constantly changing expression. So you have the token of Star Monarch. It seems that my worries were unnecessary. Looking at the hexagonal astrolabe in Yi Chenfeng's hand, the old soul completely relaxed and said, Junior, if you can really take away the supreme expert's corpse and completely isolate it, I'll give it and the Path Understanding Tree to you. Okay, then this junior won't be polite. Saying that, Yi Chenfeng released a sword Dao pattern and cut open the soil around the Path Understanding Tree, revealing the already withered corpse that was pierced through by several dragon-like roots. Universe Mirror, collect. The Universe Mirror was the supreme treasure of gods and devils. Even with the strength of gods and devils, they couldn't completely open the Universe Mirror. It was enough to show how powerful the Universe Mirror was. Under the powerful suction force released by the Universe Mirror, the corpse and the Path Understanding Tree were all taken away by the Universe Mirror, leaving behind an empty hole in the ground. Junior, I didn't expect you to have this kind of spatial treasure. It seems that you are also a person with great fortune. I can finally be free. Feeling that the corpse was truly isolated from the world, the old soul finally relaxed and said with gratification, Senior, now that you have completed your mission, what do you plan to do next? Xia Wendy asked. I plan to find the ancient undead spirit and fight it to the death. The old soul said, Senior, although your soul is strong, that ancient undead spirit has devoured too many living beings. It is very frightening. With your current situation, I'm afraid you are not its opponent. Once the ancient undead spirit devours you, it will become even more terrifying. Yi Chenfeng said, For safety's sake, how about the two of us help Senior eliminate that ancient undead spirit? Junior, you want to lure the ancient undead spirit here. The old soul instantly understood the meaning behind Yi Chenfeng's words and asked. That's right. The ancient undead spirit has sensed the heavenly domain corpse and will definitely appear to fight for it. If we deploy in advance and gather our forces, we will have a chance to eliminate it. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said, That is a good idea. We can give it a try. The old soul nodded and said. Xia Wendy didn't oppose Yi Chenfeng this time and also agreed to his suggestion. After all, if the ancient undead spirit wasn't eliminated, it would always be a threat to her. It might even affect her harvesting the death datura. Since there are no objections, then we will properly deploy and wait for the ancient undead spirit to enter the trap. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy began to carve runes on the ground. They were preparing to use the formation to trap the ancient undead spirit and eliminate it in one fell swoop. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading. Chapter 871. Okay, we have already laid down over 10,000 runes here. In addition to this ancient spell, as long as that ancient dead spirit dares to come, we will make sure it never returns. Yi Chunfeng let out a breath of turbid air. He looked at the spatial runes that he and Xia Wendy had drawn and revealed a satisfied smile. Not bad, not bad. I didn't think that not only would the two of you have such astonishing cultivation talent, but your attainments in array formations would also be so deep. You are truly a match made in heaven. The old soul revealed a loving smile. A match made in heaven. Xia Wendy jumped up like a wild cat whose tail had been stepped on. She loudly retorted, "Senior, please don't randomly match us up. I have no relationship with this big pervert." Yi Chunfeng looked at the agitated Xia Wendy and curled his lips, saying, "I also don't like girls who are concave in the front and back. Their figures are a mess." "Xia Wendy, Yi Chunfeng, you dare to slander me? Do you believe that I won't tear your mouth off?" Xia Wendy felt that Yi Chunfeng was her nemesis. As long as she spoke to him, she would want to be barbaric, crazy, and kill. Yi Chunfeng ignored Xia Wendy's frightening gaze. He crossed his arms across his chest and coldly warned, "Xia Wendy, you had best be more polite. Don't forget that the enlightenment tree is with me. If you want to pick the death datura, you will need my help. If you make me unhappy, then I might just leave. In any case, I have already picked what I need." "Xia Wendy, enough, the two of you, stop arguing." The old soul looked at the two arguing people and shook his head, saying, "You two had best believe in this old man's eyesight. According to I's experience, the two of you are absolutely a match made in heaven and should walk together." Hearing the old soul's words becoming more and more ridiculous, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy were speechless. The night was like water. Darkness shrouded the entire ancient medicine garden. There was no light at all. Only a crescent moon hung high in the sky, sprinkling down its faint moonlight. Yi Chunfeng borrowed the power of the sword spirit to forcefully cut off the epiphany tree root that was as hard as black iron and had taken root in the corpse of the celestial race's supreme being. He moved this extremely valuable corpse outside to attract the ancient dead spirit. During this period of time, Xia Wendy hid the formation runes that fused into the space. Her old soul forcibly opened the ancient restriction, waiting for the ancient dead spirit to enter. The night grew darker and darker. Suddenly, a blurry black shadow that had merged with the forbidden fog strangely appeared and stopped outside the ancient restriction. Through the slowly floating forbidden fog, it looked at the withered corpse of the celestial race's supreme expert on the ground. "They're here." Although the ancient undead spirit's concealment ability was extremely strong, Yi Chunfeng could still sense its existence with the help of the God-Eater brain. He hurriedly informed the old soul and Xia Wendy. The ancient undead spirit held the halberd in his hand as he looked at the withered corpse from afar. He didn't approach it blindly, but this corpse was too attractive to him. If he could obtain it, he could borrow the corpse's strength to tear apart the ancient restriction and leave the ancient medicine garden. In the end, under the temptation of the celestial race supreme expert's corpse, the ancient undead spirit turned into a beam of light and took the risk to enter the ancient restriction, flying towards the celestial race supreme expert's corpse. Just as he flew into the celestial race supreme expert's corpse and fused with it, the celestial race supreme expert's corpse strangely disappeared, causing the ancient undead spirit to miss. In the next moment, the old soul forcefully closed the ancient restriction. Tens of thousands of killing formation runes appeared in the air, illuminating the pitch-black space as if it were daytime. Undead spirit, we meet again. The old soul appeared from the pile of rubble. He looked sharply at the ancient dead spirit who was holding the halberd and exuding a murderous aura as he spoke in a deep voice. Ao ao ao. Looking at the sky filled with killing formation runes and the three souls surrounding him, the ancient undead spirit let out an earth-shattering roar. A terrifying killing intent leaked out from his soul body. Undead spirit, you shouldn't be alive in this world. Enter the reincarnation cycle with me. As he spoke, the old soul released a powerful soul power, sweeping up a large amount of rubble and smashing it towards the ancient undead spirit. Xia Wendy, I'll leave the task of controlling the formation runes to you. I'll go and help Senior deal with him. As he spoke, Yi Chenfeng summoned the sword puppet that was comparable to a level 6 beast emperor and attacked the ancient undead spirit together. Rumble! The ancient undead spirit fiercely waved his halberd. Borrowing the powerful halberd's might, he shattered the rubble that was smashing towards him. Then, he stabbed his halberd towards Yi Chenfeng who was close to him. The sword puppet stepped on the void and suddenly accelerated. It used its indestructible body to block in front of Yi Chenfeng, blocking the powerful attack of the halberd. Dragon's bloodline, ignite. In order to kill the ancient undead spirit, Yi Chenfeng instantly ignited his dragon's bloodline. A 1,000-meter-long blood dragon emperor appeared on his body and instantly increased his soul power by 7 times. Beast soul form. Yi Chenfeng roared and merged with the blood dragon emperor. He transformed into his beast soul form. Large patches of blood dragon scales covered his body. At this moment, Yi Chenfeng's strength was also increasing. Judgment of 7 swords, judgment. Yi Chenfeng slashed with the Emperor's Sky sword in his hand. A light sword that was filled with the will of judgment of the world slashed down from the sky. It tore through the void and slashed towards the ancient undead spirit. Tisk! Being attacked by the judgment sword, the ancient undead spirit let out an earth-shattering roar. The terrifying surface of his soul body was like boiling water, blocking the judgment sword. Following which, the ancient undead spirit's mouth became infinitely bigger. Billowing deathly aura surged out of his mouth like a long river and bombarded Yi Chenfeng, forcing him to use his sword steps to dodge with all his might. Soul slash. Seizing the opportunity when the ancient undead spirit was attacking Yi Chenfeng, the elderly soul immediately executed his killer move. Extremely sharp soul strands shot out from his body, slicing through all obstacles and attacking the ancient undead spirit. Under the attack of the elderly soul's killer move, the ancient undead spirit's powerful soul body was slashed with hundreds of wounds. Large amounts of soul aura emanated from the wounds, causing the ancient undead spirit to let out beast-like roars. Myriad array patterns kill. Xia Wendy controlled countless array patterns and bombarded the ancient undead spirit's soul body that had been slashed. She wanted to destroy him in one fell swoop. Roar! 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 Sensing death, the ancient undead spirit let out a long roar that shook the 9 heavens. His pitch-black soul body started to burn. He exploded with his strongest strength and rapidly brandished his Fangtian halberd. He constantly shattered the attacking array patterns and tried his best to break out. Do you think you can escape? At this moment, the elderly soul also ignited his soul and continuously executed his killer move. It was like a violent thunder that shook the 9 heavens, bombarding the ancient undead spirit and trying to kill him. Sword soul break. As the ancient undead spirit was being bombarded and his burning soul body's injuries were getting worse, Yi Chenfeng fused his sword soul into the Emperor's Sky sword. He rushed into the destructive storm and slashed at the ancient undead spirit. Tisk! Under the amplification of the sword soul, the attacking power of the Emperor's celestial sword reached an extremely terrifying level. The sword slashed at the ancient undead spirit's chest that was riddled with wounds, leaving a deep sword scar on its chest. At the next moment, Xia Wendy controlled the myriad array patterns and bombarded the ancient undead spirit's chest. The ancient undead spirit was sent flying and crashed into the ancient undead spirit's restriction. He was severely injured. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 872. Awo. The ancient undead spirit was constantly wounded, completely enraging him. As the old soul launched a fatal strike, he suddenly drilled into the halberd. In the next moment, the dark red blood that had remained on the halberd for countless years began to shine. A massive amount of blood runes appeared and cut towards the old soul, blocking his killing blow. Myriad runes kill. Xia Wendy saw that the old soul had grasped the situation. She immediately controlled the runes in the void to attack, bombarding the halberd and slowing down its attack speed. However, as the halberd rapidly danced, the 10,000 killing runes were torn apart and fused into the halberd. The ancient undead spirit began a desperate counterattack. 9 Dragon Jade Wall. Seeing the increasingly fierce halberd attack, Yi Chunfeng summoned the 9 Dragon Jade Wall without hesitation. He continuously poured his soul force into it, awakening the Saint Artifact Spirit. Attack! When Yi Chunfeng poured all the soul power in his body into the 9 Dragon Jade Wall, he controlled the 9 Dragon Jade Wall to condense a murderous dragon. With endless destructive power, it tore through the void and bombarded the ferocious halberd that was slashing towards him. Bang! The destructive halberd light unleashed by the sky halberd was shattered. The terrifying murderous dragon crazily destroyed the sky halberd, causing cracks to appear on the mid-grade Dao artifact's body. It continuously damaged the ancient undead spirit hidden within the halberd. 10,000 killing runes break. Xia Wendy didn't waste this excellent opportunity. She controlled the floating 10,000 killing array runes to pierce through the cracks on the halberd's body. The burning ancient undead spirit was riddled with holes, worsening its injuries. On the verge of death, the ancient undead spirit began to go all out. He continuously poured his burning soul force into the halberd, counterattacking with all of his strength. But at this time, the sword puppet blocked in front of the halberd. It waved its 2 low-grade Dao swords, forcefully resisting the halberd's attack. Ancient undead spirit, perish with me. Just as the heavenly halberd was being restrained by everyone, the old soul that was burning with soul power forcibly broke into the heavenly halberd. In the next moment, the old soul self-detonated, dealing a fatal blow to the ancient undead spirit, riddling it with holes and tearing more than half of its soul apart. Ao. Even after receiving a fatal blow from the old soul, the ancient undead spirit wasn't destroyed. It relied on its powerful soul power and will to devour the old soul, which was extremely weak and had its soul torn apart, to repair its own soul. Under the ancient undead spirit's devouring, the old soul's resistance became weaker and weaker. The situation was very dire. Xia patterned butterfly, attack with all your strength. Stop the ancient undead spirit from devouring Senior's soul. Once he recovers from his injuries, I'm afraid we'll be in trouble. After drinking the pivot returning heavenly water, Yi Chunfeng quickly recovered his exhausted soul power. I know. Xia patterned butterfly took a deep breath. Her hands quickly moved, controlling the array patterns in the sky to attack the heavenly halberd. Through the cracks on the halberd, she attacked the ancient undead spirit. Just as the ancient undead spirit was pierced through by the dense array patterns, the furious ancient undead spirit controlled the heavenly halberd to slash at Xia patterned butterfly. It wanted to kill her first and destroy the thousands of array patterns that were attacking it. Crescent Sword Arc. The sword puppet stepped on the void and blocked in front of the heavenly halberd. It waved its low-grade Dao sword, which was like 2 crescent moons. It ruthlessly slashed at the heavenly halberd, blocking the attack of the heavenly halberd. After the heavenly halberd was blocked by the sword puppet, the ancient undead spirit that had devoured part of the old soul and was forcefully repairing its soul suddenly flew out of the halberd. It was like a sword of thunder as it shot towards Xia-patterned butterfly, whose expression slightly changed as she quickly dodged. When Yi Chunfeng saw that Xia-patterned butterfly had a chance, he ignored his weak body and rushed over with sword step. Before the ancient undead spirit could break into Xia-patterned butterfly's soul sea, he blocked in front of her and helped her block the ancient undead spirit's killing blow. 1. Yi Chunfeng's head trembled. The ancient undead spirit broke into his soul sea like a hot knife through butter. Large amounts of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. It was an extremely horrifying sight. Although his soul sea appeared, Yi Chunfeng did not panic. Before the ancient undead spirit could tear his soul sea apart, the God-Eater brain appeared. It formed a terrifying devouring vortex that swallowed the ancient undead spirit. As the ancient undead spirit struggled with all his might, it quickly tore him apart. After tearing apart the ancient undead spirit, the God-Eater brain rapidly wriggled and crazily swallowed the ancient undead spirit's torn soul. It split into new brain cells and began a new evolution process. Yi Chunfeng, wake up, wake up! Nothing must happen to you. Xia-patterned butterfly, who had been saved by Yi Chunfeng, saw Yi Chunfeng bleeding from his 7 orifices. Her mind went blank and she didn't know what to do. She used all her strength to grab his arm, wanting to wake him up. Yi Chunfeng, if something happens to you because of me, I will feel guilty for the rest of my life. Even now, the image of Yi Chunfeng risking his own life to save her flashed through Xia-patterned butterfly's mind. She couldn't help but shed 2 lines of hot tears. As Xia-patterned butterfly grabbed Yi Chunfeng's arm and tried to think of a way to save him, Yi Chunfeng suddenly opened his eyes and stared at the weeping Xia-patterned butterfly. You can still cry? Seeing the tearful Xia-patterned butterfly, Yi Chunfeng revealed a smile and teased. You're fine. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's soul was not injured in the slightest, Xia Wendy widened her eyes and opened her mouth wide in disbelief. She even forgot to wipe away the tears at the corner of her eyes. Then what about the ancient undead spirit? You didn't kill it, did you? This world no longer has that ancient undead spirit. Yi Chunfeng wiped the blood from his 7 orifices and slowly said, Yi Chunfeng, what are you hiding in your head? What kind of power did you use to kill the ancient undead spirit? Xia-patterned butterfly looked at Yi Chunfeng as if she was looking at a monster and curiously asked. It's a secret. Yi Chunfeng deliberately mystified. Xia-patterned butterfly's bright red eyes widened, revealing a trace of anger. Hey! I am your benefactor who saved your life. Is this how you treat your benefactor? Seeing Xia Wendy who was grinding her teeth in anger, Yi Chunfeng loudly shouted. Xia-patterned butterfly rolled her eyes at Yi Chunfeng and muttered, Good people don't live long, but scourges live for 1,000 years. Yi Chunfeng, Junior, I didn't expect you to have this kind of ability. It seems that you really have a chance to inherit the Star Emperor's legacy and lead the ancient Star Palace to glory again. The fragmented and extremely weak old soul floated out of the sky piercer halberd and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had given him a great shock, and said with satisfaction, Senior, don't worry. One day, I will definitely crush the ambitions of the other races and rebuild our human race's legacy. Yi Chunfeng softly promised. Junior, rebuilding our human race's legacy is a path full of thorns. Even with the Star Emperor's lofty ambitions, he still failed in the end. So, you have to plan for the best. However, with your talent and ability, you do have a slight chance, the old soul weakly said. All right, my mission has been completed. I can leave in peace. Before I leave, I will give you one last sentence. You two are truly a match made in heaven. Yi Qinfeng, Xia Patterned Butterfly. Remember the website. Sanwu Chinese Network.